Hey, Cladari, can you hear us? Cladari?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
How you doing?
Hey, doing great. You're live on the air on Louis Live on Israel Sports Radio. A lot of great things to talk about. I know generally your expertise is in the South, but want to go out to the Northwest. And the Seahawks pick up Terrell Owens. A lot of people thought that T.O. was done with his career. Want to get your thoughts about how much he has left in the tank.
He has a lot left in the tank. I think that, with his new attitude and everything like that is going to be great. He didn't present any problems while he was in Buffalo or in Cincinnati. Matter of fact, he did a great job in Cincinnati with Carson Palmer and playing next to Chad Johnson, or should I say Ocho Cinco, who is now Chad Johnson again.
Right, that's right.
He,
Changing back his name.
Chad Johnson likes to just change names left and right. So
yeah,
but I know that he went to the IFL with the Alien Wranglers, and he did pretty all right. 35 catches, I believe about 400 to 405 yards, something around there. He was released from that team, of course, and he lost some ownership with that team as well when he was released. He's been having some financial difficulties as far as finances and child support and little different things like that kind of gives him a bad rap, But that takes away nothing on the football field. And the only reason why I believe he did not necessarily play last year was because of an injury. The injury has now healed, and I believe he's going to be able to come into that locker room, provide great leadership. The Seahawks got some talented young wide receivers in the names of Doug Baldwin and Golden Tate. And I believe those two will actually be able to pick up some things, some tools from Terrell Owens. And not only that, I think from what we've seen just recently, he ran a time of the 40. His 40-meter dash, his sprint was a 4.45. What they don't talk about was that he ran a second one. And on that second one, he ran a 4.43. So it shows that his speed is very consistent right now. So I think that he's going to be able to come in and provide that. And if Sidney Rice was to get hurt, who Sidney Rice is the Seahawks starting wide receiver in Seattle. If he was to get hurt, he deals with, injury issues and things like that. Then you definitely have somebody else that can step in. Not only do you have Terrell Owens, but you also have Braylon Edwards up there. So they have two wide receivers that can step in and play that flanker role of Sidney Rice in case of injury or anything like that.
All right, Cladari, obviously his physical skills are still there, and he can be effective that way. You mentioned pretty good season the last couple of years. What I'm curious about are his teammates. Will they think, oh, this is a clown coming in, this is going to be some type of circus, and will they give him the respect that Terrell Owens wants and craves?
That's a good question. One of the things that kind of stood out to me was Golden Tate. Golden Tate wears number 81 for the Seattle Seahawks. He's a young wide receiver, normally third or fourth on the depth chart. Well, when Terrell Owens came over on Tuesday and signed his contract, he asked Golden Tate, for number 81 back. Because, that's what, Terrell Owens been wearing number 81 ever since he's come into the NFL. And Golden Tate told him no. Now, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was a sign of, hey, disrespect, or was it a sign of Golden Tate saying, hey, I plan on being in Seattle for a long time. 81 is my number, and I would like to keep it. But most of the time when somebody who is he's number 3 in history,
of all time,
Jerry
touchdown
Rice and Randy
catches.
Moss,
Right.
So whenever a guy like that comes into town and he's playing on your team, normally if he asks for a number, we kind of give it to him.
Yeah.
So I think that is something to kind of watch out for. I think that they do understand that he's there, but he's going to have to kind of fit in like everybody else and actually earn his spot.
All right, now, there was a sad situation, obviously, with the Philadelphia Eagles. Andy Reid's son passing away. The son's had a lot of different issues with drugs, and we speculated here on the show why this son would have such problems. We were thinking maybe the coach, is so busy, Andy Reid's so busy, can't necessarily be a father, and then Andy Reid goes back to football this week, so it was obviously a sad story. Has there been talk about? I mean, it's not something I want to imagine, but he just has to go back to work and be busy and kind of distract himself. I mean, has he talked publicly about this very sad situation?
Well, I will say there's a story out. You know Jim Harbaugh.
Sure.
Jim Harbaugh for the Ravens, the head coach. He attended the funeral as well for young Garrett, and the two families are very close, the Garrett family and the Reid family. And what Andy Reid approached Mr. Harbaugh and kind of consulted him a little bit. And I think that with Andy Reid consulting Harbaugh, it was Andy Reid's son, it kind of shows that Andy Reid has a lot of strength in this type of situation, and he's going to be able to deal with it. He's going to be able to deal with it professionally. It's not going to change who Andy Reid is as a person or as a head football coach. Unfortunately, the situation was, you never want to lose a son. Matter of fact, your son is supposed to be the person that buries the father. And I think that that's a very, very, very touchy, type of situation.
Right.
But he does have to keep it professional, and I think that the Eagles have a lot to play for, and Andy Reid has a lot to coach for right now, especially in life as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. Obviously, our prayers are with him and his family, and I hope he's able to go on. I hope has success this year, but certainly a sad situation. We wanted to report on that. I know we like to keep things light and happy with you, but wanted to still talk about it because it was a big story. And Raphael, go ahead.
Culinary, my man, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, brother. How are you?
Good. And tell our listeners where you're heading off to later today.
I'm heading off to the Falcons versus Ravens preseason game out here. It's supposed to be around 5:45 or so. I actually do some work up there at the Dome, and so I plan on being in attendance, of course, and hopefully seeing some of these great matchups. One of the matchups I want to see is Peter Combs versus Haloti Ngata. Peter Combs is the first round. He was the first round, I believe, draft pick of the Atlanta Falcons. He plays the center/guard position, and we know about Haloti Ngata. He's one of the greatest defensive tackles in the league. So being able to see these two kind of gauge each other and see what Peter Combs can do up there on that offensive. On that offensive line, trying to see what can he do against Ngata. Was this a great pick for the Falcons? Can Peter Combs go out there, and they're supposed to be switching them in between center and guard. So I want to see what position he plays the best at, and I'm keeping an eye on that matchup right there.
Right, and it's going to be exciting. Are you looking forward to this season, Clark? Do you think? You cover for us the NFC East, or excuse me, the NFC South. Sorry. I remember Ari and I were doing an interview with someone from the NFL Network, and they were saying this might be the best the NFC East has ever been. I keep saying it. The NFC South, the NFC South. The best the NFC South might be. I mean, Carolina's on the rise, a Super Bowl prediction. Atlanta wants to bounce back. New Orleans wants to prove they can win. Tampa, they can go to the playoffs. They have a new coach, Greg Schiano from Rutgers. So do you think this is going to be exciting to watch this all year?
Yes, actually, if you look at Tampa Bay, they've always been a good, solid team. And their season can always go one way or the other. And I mean, any given year, it doesn't really matter who their personnel is. 1 minute they have a good 10-6 year and they miss the playoffs, like 2010, and then the next season they go 7-9.
Right.
And that, and they made a good pick as far as being able to get a wide receiver, a number one, and Vincent Jackson down there in Tampa Bay. We don't necessarily hear a lot about Tampa, but I think that could be a very, very sneaky team, always year in and year out. Then you look at Carolina. Carolina has a lot of young depth. Not only do they have a lot of young depth, but Steve Smith is back. And when I say Steve Smith is back, Cam Newton and Steve Smith were able to connect on a level that brought Steve Smith back up to a Pro Bowl level. And I think that's going to be excellent for the Carolina Panthers as they move on into the second year of Cam Newton. And Cam Newton, possibly the second best quarterback in the NFC South, right behind Drew Brees. Now, I know I'm saying
wow, Clonari
has Matty Rice.
Yeah. Wow.
Matt Ryan, Matty Ice. But I think Cam Newton is number 2.
Ooh.
Right there.
Okay, that's Matt Ryan. I mean, has done a lot of good things, but he struggled in the playoffs, especially last year. The Giants just waxed them, and it wasn't it 24-2 or something crazy like that. Connor, we have 2 minutes left before we have to let you go. So, give a prediction for what you think is going to happen with the Falcons, or give us a table prediction with the NFC South. How is it going to end up?
NFC South prediction. Wow. Wow. Preseason prediction. We're going to have to do an NFL prediction after the preseason. But right now,
okay.
I'm looking at...
Fair enough.
It's kind of early. But right now, what I'm looking at, New Orleans, can they bounce back? That's going to be a big one. If they could bounce back, you can expect an 11-5 type of year out of them. I don't know about the whole 13-3 blitzes on fire, but 11-5. Carolina, Falcons, I expect Atlanta and Carolina to fight for that number 2 spot. Whoever wins is going to go 10-6. The next team after that, I'm looking at 9-7, 8-8. Tampa Bay, like I said, they're a wild card, but I have to put them at number 4.
Interesting. Okay.
All right, Clary.
I hope that's good enough for you guys.
Yeah, that's great.
And we will ask you September 1st what you think, and I think Aaron Krolik, now who has a show on our network on Mondays, you will be a guest in his show a couple times on Monday nights.
Great.
All right.
Great.
We're sorry this segment was so short, but we're happy to get you on before your big event later on in the day. But thank you for being on Louis Live and Israel Sports Radio. And check Clary out on Twitter, JMC Sportsbook, and check him out on this show, Louis Live. Clary, much love to you. We'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
All right, be well.
Thanks, Clary.
All right, so this is a jam-packed show we have today. We're going to have 6 guests. Clary was guest number 1, and we're going to go right away to guest number 2. Raphael, tell us a bit about him.
Yeah, guest number 2 is Ami Monson, or Amiel. We'll ask him what he exactly goes by as a program director of Maccabi USA. So what a great time to talk to him after everything Ali Raisman's been able to accomplish. We're right now in talks to have her on the show, so it's very exciting because she's really kind of been the face of Jewish athletes in this Olympics. No offense to our Israelis, but they haven't been able to accomplish much. But we're going to call him now.
Keeping it real.
And we're going to put in an extension because he's in the office. And we're going to go about 15 minutes with him. And then next we'll have our good friend Ari Bluestein, also from Philly. Ami and Ari are both based in Philly, so that's exciting today.
Thank you for calling USA.
All right.
We are open Monday to Friday between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m.
We apologize to these folks, but we have to
Please
do
hold
this.
on.
You have reached Karen Renshaw at extension 111. Please leave a message.
I dial
I'll
116.
record your message at the tone.
You did dial
When you're
116.
finished, hang up or stay on
So
the
we're gonna
line for
hang up.
further options.
Hang up, and we're going to try it again.
We're going to try it again. But yeah, so we're going to talk to Ami about just a lot of the great Jewish athletes who have come through the Maccabi games and Maccabi. And we're going to start with Ali and just everything she's been able to accomplish. Talk about Mark Spitz, Jason Lezak. I mean, there's so many amazing Jewish athletes that have come through the doors. Dan Grunfeld, who, of course, played for Hapoel Jerusalem last year. And
I hope I get this right for you, Ravi.
let's see if we can get through to Ami. We dialed 116.
Hello, Maccabi.
Am I speaking with Ami Monson?
This is Ami, AMI.
You are live on Loose Live on Israel Sports Radio. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's an honor to be on the show.
Yeah, so we were just telling our listeners it's been amazing what Ali Reisman's been able to accomplish for Team USA and also for all the Jews in the world. So as the program director of Maccabi, I was hoping you could give a few words to what you've seen out of Ali and how it's affected all the Jewish communities in the United States and maybe even specifically in Philadelphia.
Well, first and foremost, I think that what Ali's done is incredible, and as much as what she's done on the floor or on the different equipment, it's what she's done as a role model and a leader to the USA gymnastics team. She's handled herself with grace and really incredible. I think, we are in a world where a lot of kids are looking for Jewish role models, Jewish youngsters, and Allie is, just added to the long line of great Jewish role models over the years with Sandy Koufax and Mark Spitz and Jason Lezak, etc. And it's exciting. It's just a really exciting time. And, hopefully we can get Allie to come and be an ambassador for Team USA for the Maccabiah in July 2013.
Right.
On with Ari Louis, I got to tell you about Allie's global significance. I was at synagogue a couple weeks ago, and someone came up to me because they know I host the show on the station and said, "Did you hear about the girl?" and did a routine to Hava Nagila. So it was great that her place has gone all the way out to Israel. And I'm curious about the feedback you've gotten. I mean, you've spoken glowing words of her, but if people come up to you personally and talked about how much they're impressed with this young woman?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Especially with Facebook, I've gotten so many hits from our Maccabi alumni saying, "Are you going to get Allie Raisman? Are you going to get Allie Raisman?" And we hope to. We'll follow the proper lines of communication to, not to override, to overwhelm her, because I'm sure she'll be in major demand post the games. And but it's just exciting. I know it was very exciting for a lot of Israelis and people internationally at the Maccabiah at the 18th Maccabiah in 2009 when Jason Lezak was there. He, for an American to be asked to light the torch at the opening ceremonies is the highest honor. And he was such a mensch about everything, and all these wonderful athletes that have come to Israel to be a part of things and represent the Jewish people has just been fantastic.
Right, and I think, the most amazing part, obviously the Hava Nagila thing was great, but the salute to the victims who died in Munich, that was really the most touching, especially in Israel. That was something that was, on everyone's Facebook, all my Israeli friends' Facebook. It just, people who don't even follow Team USA or necessarily follow Americans in the Olympics. To be honest, it's kind of a sad thing to say being Israeli, but that actually got more publicity and more attention than any real Israeli in this Olympics, which is kind of interesting. So that's been great. But you mentioned some great names there with Ari, so I just kind of want to ask you specifically about them and what you think what they've done for Maccabi and what you hope they continue to do, and maybe talk about some young new people that are coming through. But let's start off with Dan Grunfeld. He, of course, played here in Apol Yerushalayim, Jerusalem last year. His father works for the Wizards. So how do you know him, and what has he done for you in the Maccabi games?
Well, first I want to say that the whole thing with the Munich 11, I think we just need to keep, as a people, we need to keep mentioning it and keep the memories alive of those who passed.
Right.
It's as I've met some of the family members of those who perished, that we just need to keep their memory alive, and we can't wait for other people to mention it at global events. We just have to keep it going, and hopefully someday they'll bring it up at the Olympics. That being said, Dan is a wonderful guy. I met him through the training camp of the USA team, for the 2009 Maccabiah team, coached by Bruce Pearl. And Dan and I became instant friends, and is just a wonderful ambassador for basketball, let alone USA Maccabi basketball or the NBA or whatever. He was an outstanding college player at Stanford, and
right.
He's just been a terrific person. He's just a terrific person. We have a lot of wonderful people who are playing there presently, like Ryan Adelaide, who's playing for Hapoel Beersheva in soccer, and Leo Krupnik for Maccabi Netanya. And what's really exciting is some of the women who are playing right now all inspired by their participation in the Maccabi for Team USA, like Meirav Shamir, the starting goalie for the Israel national team, women's, and Sarah Friedman and Jenna Brand, who were at Asa Tel Aviv, and I believe they won their first Israel championship this year with their help. We have had some great players like Lainey Selwyn, and I think Jen Fleischer's still involved, and future up and coming is very exciting for us is Zach Rosen from Penn, who's going to be signing with an Israel team, and Brian Cohen, who just graduated Bucknell, is signing with Maccabi Haifa.
Right.
And Brad Greenberg is going to be the coach, and he's outstanding. He's going to be our assistant coach for Open Team with his brother Seth from ESPN.
Right, and Zach Rosen just actually wrote an article about him, got to speak with him personally. A really good guy.
And a guest on the show.
Guest on the show, exactly.
Along with Coach Greenberg.
Along with, right. Brad's also been a guest on the show a number of times. Really, really good guy. Very, very happy to have him on. And, it's funny. I had an interview with him. I don't think Ari was here. It was January. And I was asking him, Brad, you've been a GM, you've been an assistant coach, you've been a head coach at the collegiate level. You're now working international basketball in Venezuela. What more do you want to accomplish? And I remember this, to the day I heard he was hired. He said he wanted to come and coach in Israel. So very happy for him. Maccabi Haifa has done made a lot of moves this offseason, spending a lot of money under the leadership of Rosen. And Zach Rosen, as you mentioned, an amazing guy, high character, coming to Hapoel Cholon, a very proud team. I believe they're opening a new arena with 2,500 seats. That may not sound like a lot in America for our listeners in America, but in Israel, that's considered a big stadium. That's probably top 5 in our Premier League after Maccabi and maybe Haifa, and then Rishon LeZion, and Jerusalem. That's probably the next biggest. So very exciting for Zach. Really happy for him.
Very exciting.
Yeah, very, very exciting. And can you tell us a little bit more about the games in 2013? I mean, there's a lot of hype about it. We're very excited about it. And can you tell us, maybe some people we should look out for, how we can get more information
absolutely.
about it?
Yeah, thank you. It's very exciting. We actually, on the USA team, plan to take over. We're hoping for a little over 1,100 people coming from the U.S. to the Maccabi. We plan to leave here around July 10th, arrive in Israel the 11th. We do a wonderful Israel Connect program where the kids, I say the kids, but that's actually from age 15 to 85, get the train in the morning and tour during the day, and then opening ceremony is July 18th at Teddy Kollek Stadium. And, there'll be thousands and thousands of Jews from all over the country. One of the most exciting things is at opening ceremonies, once where they do all the formalities, all the kids from all the different countries start trading their gear, all their apparel, and it's just the funniest and the most fun thing to watch. And I think the most profound experience is being there, and when the Hatikva is sang, everybody stops and just stays straight, and a lot of people have tears in their eyes, realizing all these wonderful Jewish people from all around the world coming together to celebrate Jews in sports, which is really exciting. So it's a little nerve-wracking to be less than a year away because we have a lot of work to do, but it's also very exciting to know what's ahead of us.
And, I wanted to ask you, is there something going on right now in Memphis? I've been seeing something about people going to Memphis. Is there something that's specific with the Maccabi games?
Yep. What's wonderful is leadership from Maccabi USA and around the country came up. It's actually the 30th anniversary. Memphis was the first site for the JCC Maccabi games. The National JCC organization, which is a wonderful partner organization of ours, does these wonderful games in the United States, usually 3 to 4 sites each summer for kids to have athletic competition against other kids from other towns in the United States. And as we take one national team, they take different cities through their JCC sponsor teams to play in a bunch of different sports, from baseball and soccer and roller hockey and basketball. And it's a wonderful opportunity at a very young age for these kids to be exposed to other Jewish athletes and Jewish kids. There's a lot of social activities, and even more so, they do a lot of social action, a day of caring, a day of sharing, one day through the activities. And it's just a wonderful opportunity for the parents to see the kids play at different levels. And a lot of those kids who have played for us in the past have come through the JCC system. And it's a great fall. And, actually some of my colleagues are just coming back from the JCC Maccabi games as they were recruiting and talking up our games to recruit and get people excited. And this year it's Memphis, Tennessee, Houston, Texas, and then starting this Sunday is Rockland County, New York, which is really exciting, and just a lot of hype and Jews enjoying other Jews athletically, socially, and culturally.
Yeah, absolutely. Memphis, a great, great Jewish community. I was there. Really amazing people and a very, very beautiful community. Before we let you go, we have about 60 seconds left. We wanted to ask you, how did you get involved with this? What did you start off as, and where do you kind of see Maccabi games going down the road? What do you expect?
I was very blessed. I had a friend of the family who was a former executive director of Maccabi USA, and she thought it'd be a perfect fit. I was excited to get the opportunity. It really combines all my passions of kids, Judaism, sports, and it's been a real labor of love. We have the most amazing volunteers in the world, like my president, Ron Carter, and or the one who will lead our USA team into the Maccabi opening ceremony, Chip Buchan's. We're very excited, and I got started in July of 2002, and I've been here. I'm just starting my 11th year, and I'm from Philadelphia, so that does help a little bit. It's in my hometown and about 10 blocks from where I grew up. In terms of the future, I just see more and more Jewish athletes coming out of the woodworks from a lot of small towns to Jewish kids who never get to play with other Jewish players, playing with Jewish players through the JCC system, through Maccabi USA. And what's even more exciting is that funnel to kids who never thought they could play professionally, that the NBA is so far-fetched, or NFL or NHL or whatever, that now they get the opportunity to really show their skills in Israel and play for Israeli teams, whether it's soccer, basketball, even tennis, etc. And if we can be that, caveat, that help, that bridge between them and their Maccabi career to their professional career in Israel, we feel really wonderful about it, and we're very excited again by Zach Rosen and Brian Cohen and people in the past who have represented us well. I think Israel has gotten some of the biggest, not only best athletes we've ever had, but the best, the wonderful people that they are. And, just the expectations are exciting, and they're young and upcoming tremendous athletes, and we're excited.
All right. Well, that sounds great. We certainly appreciate all the work you do and your time here on Louis Live on Israel Sports Radio. Enjoy the rest of the Olympic Games, and we will be in touch.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and have a good rest of your summer.
Thank you very much.
Be well out there.
Take care.
All right. That was Amiel Monson, who is the program director of Maccabi, coming on the program and breaking down the Olympics. We obviously saw from a Jewish perspective. Again, Raphael's right. Not a lot on the Israeli end to be proud of.
Yeah, there's actually big news a couple nights ago. Maybe it was last night. The Israeli Olympic Committee is hiring, I think, a firm to analyze why the Olympics were such a failure. I mean, that's
awesome.
It's pretty sad. I don't know if it's really bad. I mean, we did really bad this Olympics. Everyone who was supposed to do good did bad. So is that training? I mean, these guys are so dedicated that you can't say they just choked, but We'll see. Anyway, we have Ari Bluesign on the line.
Ari, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
We can indeed.
No doubt about it. Let's get right into it. We have a short segment with you. I want to talk about this basketball team for the Americans. And
Oh gosh!
at the beginning, there was some talk from Kobe Bryant, I believe, that they were better than the Dream Team, and I don't think so. In Australia,
lose to Spain.
Rafael thinks they're going to lose to Spain.
Yep.
Now, Australia, I'm sorry, by the way, if I missed that. Watch it with you.
You bailed on me.
I'm sorry about that.
You bailed.
I fell asleep. But they somewhat, I don't know, when I'm reading, they didn't look their best. They didn't look best last week.
They looked horrible. They might have won by 35 points. The game was tied in the middle of the third quarter. It was a 2-point game.
So, Ari, I mean, what's going on with the Olympic team? Why are they not
overrated?
Are they overrated?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they are overrated. You look at the Dream Team, the original Dream Team, they just annihilated teams. There was no doubt that they just were winning that game from start to finish. Now, you've seen a couple times. You saw yesterday with Australia. You saw with Lithuania at the end of the pool play that these teams are hanging around. Obviously, they crush teams like Nigeria and Tunisia who have no business even being in the same on the same court as USA. But some of the decent teams that have some NBA players, like Australia with Patty Mills yesterday, had a real nice game in the first half, and you saw Lithuania, Linus Kleza had a really nice game, and Jonas Valanciunas, who's going to be a rookie, he looked pretty good. And you see that they're competing with these guys. And I don't really know what the issue is. I think maybe there's just too many superstars, and they're just not playing the right way. They're taking ill-advised shots at certain times. Now, against Nigeria, they were shooting the lights out, and they made I don't know how many three-pointers. But, you're not going to do that every night. You're not going to have that kind of shooting night. So you have to move the ball around and play good team defense. And I didn't really see that yesterday. And then until they decide to turn on the Jets with LeBron late in the game, and yesterday actually it was Kobe who turned it on, teams are going to hang around. And that makes me think they are beatable, especially by a team like Spain or maybe even Russia.
Yeah, all right, it's John right now with Rafael. Watching the game last night, I think I know the problem for this USA team, and they have zero. I'm trying to think of the right word. Zero inside game. They have no one doing anything. They don't pass it inside. They don't take jump shots that are less than 10 feet. I mean, this is a team that all they do is take jump shots. No one drives. If they're driving, it's the guards driving or it's LeBron driving. No one is posting up. No one is doing turnaround Jays. Tyson Chandler is non-existent. If you were watching the game, Ari, you saw that this Australian team was just doing basic cuts. Backdoor cuts on the USA because there was no one in the middle. Their inside game is horrible. I mean, not just bad, but horrible. There's no one doing anything. Every time USA had an open three-pointer, they would take it. They shot something like 46 three-pointers. Against Spain, that's not going to work. Against Russia, that's not going to work. And really, you look at yesterday's Australian team, Patty Mills is barely made the San Antonio Spurs roster. Inglis plays for Real Madrid, so that team really doesn't have much NBA talent. And they went on an 11-0 run after the start of the second half. So I want to get your thoughts. Do you agree with me about this post game or the defensive game or inside game just being completely non-existent?
Absolutely. You look at Tyson Chandler; he's really the only legitimate big, I guess you could say, on this team, and his offensive skills, he's not really known for that. He's known more for his defense, but even like you said, his defense really hasn't been anything great in these Olympics. The other maybe legitimate big you could say would be Kevin Love, but he likes to stay on the outside on the perimeter. He likes to shoot the three.
Yeah,
okay, guys, I'm going to tell you why this is. Because they don't want to get injured. They're not going to go in hard and muscle in and get elbowed. They're going to stay on the wing and take jump shots.
That's stupid. They're going to lose then. Spain is going to beat them. And that's a fact. If they think they can beat Spain shooting 46 3-point, first of all, Spain won't let them shoot 46 3-pointers. And Gasol brothers and Ibaka will just pound the inside because they have no one there. Tyson Chandler hasn't done anything. And I don't know. I think this team should be scared. If this Australia team can be losing by 2 points with 4 or 5 minutes in the third quarter, I mean, this Australia team is good. Don't get me wrong, but Patty Mills was a great college player and a decent NBA player at best. And I love him. I watched him at St. Mary's. And Inglis, Real Madrid star, but not in the NBA. Was supposed to come to the NBA 3 years ago, never made it over. So, Ari, do you agree with Ari? Do you think that it's that they don't want to get injured, maybe?
Maybe. Well, if that's the case, then they shouldn't be in the Olympics, and they should be using amateur players like they used to. And maybe they would play some team basketball. They would go out on all out on the floor and dive for loose balls and such. You know, I did see LeBron make some effort to dive on the floor. I don't know about these bigs like Tyson Chandler and Kevin Love, and maybe Carmelo even, but I know LeBron. I think LeBron's giving it his all. I have to give him credit. From what I saw, he's probably the one guy who really wants this and really is hustling out there. And I think Durant, too. I got to give Durant credit. He's been playing pretty well, and Bryant had a nice game. But if that's the case with these bigs, then give me a big that's going to hustle. Put Anthony Davis out there instead of Tyson Chandler. Big, he'll give it his all.
Absolutely. I mean, I completely agree with you. I think yesterday's game, if you look at the whole work ethic and everything LeBron James accomplished, it shows by far, and I'll say again, by far why he's the best player in the world. He had a triple-double. He had 11 assists, I think 12 rebounds and 12 points. I mean, he's amazing. And all this talk about Durant being as good as him, I mean, no, no. Maybe Durant's
a better scorer.
Of course, Durant's fine, a better scorer, but Durant's not going to.
Durant is the better scorer.
Absolutely.
LeBron is the better overall player. Exactly.
Right. I don't think it's a debate. And Ari, 2004, this Argentina team beat USA. This Argentina team, yeah, they're old. Yeah, we know they're old. Blah blah blah. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Argentina beat USA. I want this team to lose. I'm rooting hardcore against this team because they don't play any basketball. They just shoot up threes, and all the players act all cocky on the bench. If you see them, they're dancing and moving. I don't know. Go Argentina. That's my thoughts.
Well, you know, it's funny. You talk about shooting the threes. Who's the head coach of this USA team? Mike Krzyzewski.
Right.
Duke lives and dies by the three-point shot. So I just thought about that. I'm not surprised that's their philosophy with how they're playing. I hope USA wins. I'm not rooting against USA, obviously. But I think Argentina will give them a battle. I think it's going to be a good game. And even though they're older, I think Ginobili still has the ability to lead the team to a potential upset.
I think Argentina might win. I think the USA needs to understand that this Argentina team, the Spain team, or a Russia team, they're real teams. They're real talent. They understand that David Blatt, who's the Russian coach, is not going to let them shoot 43s. He's going to make Tyson do something. He's going to make. If you're the game last night, anytime LeBron wanted to pass an Australian player, boom. I mean, it wasn't even hard. Against Spain, he's not going to be able to pass a Pau Gasol or Marc Gasol or Serge Ibaka. So, I don't know. I mean, I just think that maybe they'll get. I wish that if they lost, they wouldn't be eliminated because I'm not rooting. I mean, I don't know. I'm rooting against America, but I think they just need a wake-up call, and I don't think they've gotten it. I think they might get it when it's too late. But let's move on to baseball because we have 4 minutes. Ari's going to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in your NL East.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk some Phillies. Basically, they, of course, had that big signing, Cole Hamels, and we talked about some of the trades. What is Philadelphia? I mean, I don't see them making any type of playoff run. Anything could happen, but is the goal just to kind of get some youngsters more time and prepare for next season?
Yeah, pretty much. I think, you want to see some of the younger guys as well as some of the new guys that we have. Nate Scherholtz, we acquired in the 110th deal. I think they want to see what he can do. And the big name, I actually talked with Rafael yesterday about this guy. His name is Dominic Brown. He's the new left fielder for the Phillies. He was at one time one of the top 10 prospects in all of baseball, but he actually just did not do well when he came up with the Phillies for the first time a couple of years ago. He's getting another shot, and let me tell you guys, he's playing very well. He's playing very well defensively. He's already had a couple of outfield assists. He's batting around 300, a couple of RBIs. His approach at the plate's very good. He's 24 years old, bats left, throws left. He can steal bases. He's kind of one of those guys. You talk about a five-tool player, and I think that's the guy that we really want to focus on to see if he can play and he can be the everyday left fielder, because then at that point you only really have center field and third base to fill for next year. And with Dom Brown being young, he comes at a very cheap price, which is something the Phillies need with that high payroll. One thing also the Phillies fans are looking at are Ryan Howard and Chase Utley. Are they going to get healthy? Can they find their stroke back? Will they be able to hit home runs and drive in runs? And so far, they're getting progressively better. So I think overall, this is more of an evaluation period for where the Phillies will be next year. I don't think anybody in Philadelphia is expecting them to make any type of run at the wild card or even the division crown.
Yeah, 18 games back in the division. Let me ask you this. At the end of the season, is anyone going to get fired?
Ooh, good question.
I don't think so. Charlie Manuel will be going into the last year of his contract. Will they give him an extension? Probably not. He'll probably retire at the end of the year. And then Ryan Sandberg, the Hall of Fame second baseman, who's now our AAA manager, will most likely take over as the manager at the big league level after the 2013 season. I think that's kind of the plan in mind. I don't see anybody getting fired. This is just one of those years. Everything went wrong. Injuries, bullpen, it was just one of those years just was not going to happen, and I think everybody's looking forward to 2013.
Yeah, no, I think that's inside. Of course, Ryan was. I feel like Ari, he was a candidate for that Cubs job for every year. His name was coming up, but the Cubs decided not to go with that, and like you mentioned, the AAA. What's the name of the AAA affiliate for the Phillies?
The Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. They're located in Allentown, PA,
right.
Probably about an hour and a half northeast of Philly.
Oh, wow, cool. So it's very close. I know sometimes the teams are not, they're on the other side of the country. So that's very cool.
I want to get to Ryan Sandberg, though, coaching the AAA team. Obviously, he has sights set on managing at some point. Could he get the Phillies job down the road, or will – what will happen if he doesn't get the Phillies job? Will he then say he bolt, and will they not want to take a chance on losing him?
I don't think they want to take a chance on losing him because Charlie's getting old. I don't know if he's the right manager for this team anymore. And they may need a change. And I think what happened was the Cubs passed him up. The Phillies came in and said, look, we have Charlie Manuel. We're going to ride with him for a few more years. He's getting older. When he's done, you will be the manager. And I think they basically had a gentleman's agreement. And I would be shocked if Ryan Sandberg did not take over this team. I think that's the reason that they brought him here.
Interesting. Very interesting.
All right, Ari, sorry about the short segment, but that's our time for today. Thank you for being on Louis Live on Israel Sports Radio. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to having you on next week.
Right, next week we have you
that's
on.
Okay.
For,
hopefully we'll get a longer segment next week, guys. But thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Right,
absolutely.
30 minutes next week, Ari. It's in the books. All right, I guess.
Okay, Rafi, I'll talk to you.
All right, sounds
great.
good. Thanks, Ari.
All right, that was Ari Bluestein. What we do now is take a quick commercial break.
Should we, though, Ari? I don't think we should.
Can you message me the number?
I can send you the number. But just because, today's show is a very, like I said on yesterday's show, if anyone was listening who's listening now, we want to get a lot of guests. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. So we started this first hour with 4 guests. So we're going to go with Brian Scannell right now. He's in the D.C. area of sports. And we're going to dial him up in a minute and just talk about everything going on in D.C., probably the Nationals. And after that, David Dobin, New York baseball. And Ari and I will have our own segment to do some PTI because it's been a while, Ari, since we've done that. And then to finish off the program, Zach Lee Rigg from Goal.com, good friend of Visual Sports Radio, just met Cristiano Ronaldo at Goal.com. So very excited to have him on. And so we'll be calling Brian right now. He's a D.C. journalist. He covers, all the D.C. teams. Maybe we'll talk a little Redskins. All right, we'll start off with some Redskins, and we'll move to Nats, and then maybe a little bit Wizards if we have. Oh, excuse me, I keep hiccuping. It's that kind of day. If we have time, and then David Dobin to talk about the Yankees, who just kind of seem to be cruising right now, and also maybe some Mets baseball. And we're dialing up Brian right now. And we'll start off with Redskins football.
Hi, Brian. Can you hear us? Hello, Brian.
Okay, so Brian cannot hear us.
That's okay. We should be able to. Let's try one more time. Hello, Brian. Can you hear us out there?
All right, let's try calling him again.
Okay. We'll try that. But yes, talk about some of the big soccer news that we talked about with Zach Lee Rick.
Yeah, just some big news out of Liverpool, big news out of Chelsea. The Modric saga continues. A lot of good stuff. Of course, the finals of the Olympic soccer tournament this weekend. Also, the basketball tournaments this Sunday. Ari, you should come watch with me. Watch Spain lose. Let's see if we can get Brian on the line.
Brian, can you hear us?
Yes. Hello.
Okay, we're on
great.
with Brian right now.
You're live on Lewis Live and Israel Sports Radio. Welcome to the program.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And, let's start off with talking about some D.C. sports. You're a journalist based out of D.C. doing a lot of work for different organizations and companies. Ari's going to start. I'll start off with football, then Ari will move to baseball. Ari, how does that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay, so Redskins, this is, Shanahan's been there, 2-3 years now. John Beck, Rex Grossman definitely was not working, making the huge trades to get RG3. What do you expect this year? Is this team going to even go 500? Is this going to be, should the Redskins fans, rely on patience, or is patience already expired for fans? What should we expect for this upcoming year for the Redskins?
Well, the key, and I've always said this, is going to be patience. And the reason is not because the Redskins fans' patience has run out, obviously. You can tell when you go to any Redskins game. But the fact that they have a new rookie quarterback coming in, patience is always something you have to have with a rookie quarterback. I think 500 is a very reachable goal with Robert Griffin III. I think he alone is worth 3 or 4 games just by himself and what he can bring to the team. They've had a lot of great additions. You look at Pierre Garçon and Josh Morgan. They've brought in a few key guys to come in at safety with Medea Williams and Brandon Merriweather. And I think that patience is going to be a good thing for Redskins fans to have. I think it'll be a very tough thing for Redskins to have, looking at the past and how it's been a very successful program, in the past, and now the Redskins seem to be the doormat of the NFL. So I think patience is going to be a tough thing for Redskins fans to have, but I think it's going to be something that they have to have because it's a rookie quarterback is what we're looking at. I think RG3 is the real deal, but I think it's a rookie quarterback, and with any rookie quarterback, you have to have patience.
Yeah, absolutely. Even Peyton Manning, a great example, his first year with the Colts, maybe he didn't struggle, or I guess he did struggle.
He had more interceptions than touchdowns.
Right, yeah, I didn't want to be mean.
But he started every snap. So
started every snap. The Colts didn't do that well, but it took time. So, assuming RG3 is going to be Peyton Manning or something like that, it should take time. But what kind of weapons does or will RG3 have to work with? Chris Cooley and Davis, you don't really know what you're going to get from them. And, of course, the Hightower coming over from Arizona in the running back position. Santana Moss being incredibly old, or at least he seems really old. Do you think he's going to have the right tools to be successful? You look at Cam Newton who came in. He had Steve Smith. He had some weapons, but does he have enough weapons around him?
I think he does. I really think so. I think the thing that could hurt him the most will be the offensive line. But, to answer your question with weapons, he's got Leonard Hankerson, who really came on strong at the end of last season. Then he got a little banged up. So, but he really came on strong when he started to shine. And then they brought in Pierre Garçon from the Colts and Josh Morgan from the 49ers over the off season. And both of those guys are pretty productive. And you look at Pierre Garçon. When he was in his prime with the Colts, he had Peyton Manning. So that's expected of any Colts receiver to shine when you have Peyton Manning throwing to you. And then you look at Fred Davis. He's coming off of the drug suspension for violating the NFL substance abuse policy, drug abuse policy, and he was the Redskins' leading receiver before he was suspended for the final 5 weeks of the season. He was the Redskins' top receiver, and that's with Rex Grossman and John Beck throwing to you, and he was well on his way to 1,000 yards as a tight end. Chris Cooley he's moving toward the end of his career along with Santana Moss. So I don't expect those two to be, top. I don't expect Santana Moss to be the second string or maybe even third string wide receiver, and I don't expect Chris Cooley to be the starting tight end. I think that job is pretty much Fred Davis's to lose. But I think that in terms of wide receiver, Pierre Garçon, Josh Morgan, Leonard Hankerson, I think RG3 has plenty of weapons to throw to. I think it's just going to be a matter of him having time to throw to them rather than does he have anybody to throw to.
Okay, and now let's move on to Nationals baseball, which Ari will talk to you about. A been very, very impressive so far. Take it away, Ari.
Yeah, one of the things I always notice with a team is not just their standings, but the run-loss differential. They're at plus 85, which is amazing. That's third in the major leagues overall. The Cardinals, ironically, are first at 99, but they're the third place in the division, so kind of a weird situation. And one of the things with the Nationals also is Bryce Harper might be maybe one of the more famous names on there, hard to say. But the player that seems to really make the team go is Adam LaRoche. And I want to know if there's been any talk of Adam being maybe a little jealous of Bryce, any soap opera drama between him and Bryce Harper at all.
Well, Adam, he's a quiet guy in the locker room, and a lot of these guys aren't really looking to expand their egos per se through the media, try to become a big name star. Adam, he's a star in his own right. He's the Nationals' power bat. He's been the power bat all season long, and Bryce is the spark plug. So they have two different roles. Adam LaRoche is the power hitting first baseman, and then Bryce Harper is the spark plug out there and in the outfield. And Adam, he's a nice guy. He's a great guy, and he's really been handling it well. And they're all treating Bryce Harper like he's their little brother. So they're having a lot of fun making sure that he stays grounded.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the key. And I know sometimes with rookies, they are sometimes go through the hazing rituals to make sure they stay grounded. I want to know if Bryce Harper has gone through any hazing at all.
No. They other than the fact that they pick on him. Just the regular picking on him, like when he cut his eye open when he hit himself in the face with the bat in the runway. There was that. Some of the guys played a prank on him and Ozzie Guillen when him and Ozzie Guillen got into it, where some of the Nationals players sent Ozzie Guillen a bat with a bunch of pine tar on it. Said to Ozzie for my hero Bryce. Or to Ozzie, my hero from Bryce. And so they've been picking on it, but there hasn't really any major hazing that could see any disciplinary action, but just the little locker room jokes that all teams and all rookies go through. They have a lot of fun with the kid. They love him.
Yeah, it seems like they're having a lot of fun. It seems like the team is very close-knit, and that could be a big part of their success because they don't have a lot of famous names on the ball club, but again, doing very well, as we mentioned. I want to go to Gio Gonzalez and his chances for winning the Cy Young. Now, he is in top 3 in wins with 14, top 3 with strikeouts. His ERA, though, not the best in the Major Leagues or the National League, 3.32. You have a lot of players that are better than the National League with ERA, and I want to know if that will hurt him at the end as far as winning the Cy Young, and I want you to talk about his overall chances of winning it.
Well, ERA, you're right, is a huge, huge factor into who wins and who doesn't win the Cy Young. The strikeout to walk ratio, I think it's up to 154.55 now for the strikeout to walk ratio, and his WHIP, his walks hits per innings pitched, is at 1.12, and those numbers are tops, or some top 5, top 3 in the NL. But you're right about his ERA it's a little higher than most Cy Young candidates and winners, from years past. I think he's got a chance. I think he's got a legitimate chance. I don't know if he will win it this year. I think certainly one thing that helps his chances is last night he threw a complete game where he gave up 9 hits over 9 innings. Obviously with 7 strikeouts and 2 walks, but he did throw his second career complete game. So I think he's got a chance. I don't think he will win it. I think he's definitely got a chance, and he still has a few starts left to improve on those numbers. So a few 1 inning or 1 run starts here and there from here on out would certainly improve his chances. I think there are better pitchers around the NL that could top him out for it. Certainly, you got to look in-house. Steven Strasburg, there's a name that could easily take out Gio Gonzalez there.
Well, an interesting thing, he doesn't have the best ERA on his own team. Jordan Zimmerman right now does a 2.45, and I believe Gio is probably not second. He's third in ERA on the team, right? Strasburg has a better ERA. Am I correct with that?
Yes.
Okay, so it'd be weird to give a guy the Cy Young when he has the third best ERA on his own team. It could happen. Roger Clemens in 2001 had a very high ERA, but he was first in wins. Sometimes it's enough for the voters. I'm also the opinion, if you're pitching in a pennant race, it's more valuable than if you're on a last-place team because the games count, the games matter, more pressure. So that could help as well. We'll definitely check it out. I want you to talk about now Tyler Clippard, 23 saves. the closer for the Nationals. When the Nationals, I'll say when, because they have such a good team this year. I'll say when the Nationals get in the playoffs, with Tyler being 27 years old, do they feel that he's ready to pitch in a big postseason game and not explode? Are they going to trust him down the stretch and in the postseason?
I think they should. I think that certainly the fact that he's had 23 saves in his first season as the actual closer is really helping his cause in terms of them trusting him or not. I think that he does have what it takes if they want to push him into the postseason to be the postseason closer. Another guy you got to look at that's returning now is Drew Storn, who was the original closer for the Nationals before he had to get elbow surgery. It was a Tommy John surgery, so he was able to return a couple weeks ago. But I think Tyler Clippert, and I've always thought this, that would be a better closer than reliever because he's got such great stuff. He's got a lightning quick fastball, a curveball that drops way off the plate. I think he's got great stuff to be a closer. The thing that is missing with him sometimes is consistency. Because, like last couple of weeks, he's had a few inconsistent outings where he blew a couple of saves against the Astros. So I don't know if they completely trust him. Like, let's say, we're in Game 7 of the NLCS. Are we going to, it's a one-run game, are we going to hand the ball off to Clippert to come in and finish it off or not? So, I think trust is building. I think trust is building with him. I don't think they've got complete faith in him, but they have a ton of faith, and he's really starting to show his capabilities as, starting to be the all-star that he was a few years ago. Last season he had some trouble, but this season he's really starting to come into his own with the closer role.
All right, and last question before I let you go. Of course, you cover the D.C. area, but I want to ask you about the Orioles as they're right by you. First of all, weird stat, they are at minus 47 of the plus run differential, but second place, 4.5 behind the Yankees. What point, though, do the Orioles give up on winning the American League East and focus on the wild card? Because the wild card's right there for them. And for those out there listening saying, well, every team wants to win every game, you want to make a strategy. If you're going for the wild card, you might save your better pitchers for games against the Tigers or the White Sox or the Rangers, what have you, versus the Yankees. So there is a strategy involved, in my opinion. And I want to know your thoughts on when the Orioles decide to go for the wild card and give up on the AL East.
Well, at some point you got to look, and I'm not sure of the exact number of how far behind they are in the AL East. But at some point you're correct. You're absolutely right. Of when do you save your guys for the wild card? When do you save your pitchers for when you go after guys like the Tigers for the wild card race? I think right now, mid-August is not yet the time. I think we're getting to the time when I certainly got to start thinking about it for the Orioles. Like, do they or do they not? I think once we start to move to late August, early September, I think that is the time when the Orioles should start to worry about more. Okay, let's look at winning the wild card race. So we should spread out our guys. So we have this guy. He'll be ready to pitch this time. He'll be ready to pitch against this team. I think. And it all depends on their schedule too. When do they play the Tigers? When do they play other teams that are looking at the AL wild card, the wild card? So I think it now is the time to start thinking about it. I don't know if they necessarily need to decide now, but now is definitely the time to start thinking about it.
And actually, Baltimore is right now tied for the wild card round with Detroit and Oakland. So obviously, Detroit and Oakland are ahead. Just because what do they have better records in their division? But Baltimore right now is tied 16-51, and it's a crazy wild card. Tampa Bay and the Angels are behind. Believe it or not, like I said, Oakland has made a nice run. We had the owner of the A's on earlier this year, so it's exciting to see them doing well and Billy Beane doing well.
Yes, indeed. All right, Brian, we have to run. We have to let you go. We certainly appreciate your time on Louis Live on Israel Sports Radio, and we'd love to do it again with you in the future.
That'd be great. I look forward to it. Thank you for having me on, guys.
Yeah, thanks,
sure.
Brian.
Be well out there. All right, we're going to keep on going, not take
keep the marathon going, and Ari will dial David up. David Dobin is a good friend of the program. I'll start off with a little Yankee talk, and then we have some time with David. We have about 20, 30 minutes, so we can start off with the Yankees and then move on.
Well, first, I want to talk about, I don't know, I think I told you this a few weeks ago. I was on David's show.
We're right.
Talking about the Maccabi game. So I actually want to talk to Devin about that. I want to see if he's got any fan mail from it.
Okay. Well, okay, you start off with that, and when you're done with that, I will talk to him about the Yankees.
Yes, sounds
since
good.
He is our New York baseball insider. But you ask him about that.
Hi, Devin. You're on live on Lewis Live on Israel Sports Radio. How you doing out there?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing wonderful. And before we get to Yankees talk, I was just telling Raphael and our listeners, I was on your show a few weeks ago to talk about the Olympics, and I want to know what the reaction has been for my appearance. Like a lot of fan mail, people want to know who I am, that kind of stuff. Talk about the reaction of me being on.
Well, honestly, I haven't gotten. I did post it to my Facebook page. Had a couple of comments on it, but my station mates themselves, they found it, was a very interesting segment. It's not something that's really approached very much here on the airwaves in America. I mean, again, we discussed Bob Costas and his plans, how we were counting on him to take some sort of stand, and here apparently he did. Maybe not as grand as someone expected, but I think he did what he should have done. But anyways, I think the fact that we were able to talk about that on an American radio show, it was something that a lot of people found very interesting.
That's good. I'm glad people did, because I am still very upset that it didn't happen. And I think you cannot quit. You have to persevere and keep going and shoot for 2016 to finally get this done. Again, long overdue. But I did appreciate being on the show and had a great time. And Raphael, now we'll talk about the Yankees.
Yeah, let's move on to the Yankees New York baseball insider, David Dobin. And, David, the Yankees right now are, I don't want to say cruising, but best record. Oh, I guess the Rangers have the best record. It's close. Second best record in the AL. A lot of issues still going on with this Yankee team, yet they're still able to be very successful this year. What's next for the Yankees? The playoffs are coming up in a couple weeks or a month, and what do you think? Are the Yankees going to start resting their players? I mean, they're 4.5 ahead. I guess that's not that much after we saw what the Red Sox did. But what's kind of run us through what you think the Yankees are going to do the next 3-4 weeks?
Yeah, well, right now, I don't think you can quite start resting up for the playoffs yet. I mean, first of all, they're only 4.5 games up on Baltimore, who a couple of hours ago called up Manny Machado, their top prospect, one of the top position players left in the minors. He's going to play third base for them. So the Orioles they're all in. They're making a run, and while I still don't believe that they'll be able to catch the Yankees can't start helping them out by resting players. Then you throw in that the Rays, they're sitting there just 6 games back, but Evan Longoria just came back from injury a couple of days ago. He's 1 for 8. He's striking out a lot. He's still getting his sea legs under him. But with him added and the Rays finally having some semblance of an offense, I don't think the Yankees can just start coasting yet. I think their biggest concerns don't come necessarily from resting up and preparing through lineup movement, but it's about making sure that they are getting the consistency going over the next month and a half. You have Ivan Nova, you have Phil Hughes. They both continue to just be maddeningly inconsistent. Day to day, they can go out and dominate. They can go out and get crushed. And the Yankees need them to figure it out. They have to hope that they're hot, that they get on another hot streak in October, because if those two cannot contribute at peak level, they're going to have a rough postseason.
Yeah, absolutely. And good point there about the Orioles calling up their top prospects, showing they're not giving up. As we mentioned with our previous guests from D.C., Orioles 60-51 right now, tied for the wild card with Oakland. And that's a great story, too. Now, we will get to that later in our segment. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. They can't really start resting them right now, especially with Baltimore saying, we want to do this. How often? When was the last time they made the playoffs? Ari's our history guy.
Let's see. Go ahead, repeat the question again.
When was the last time the Orioles made the playoffs?
I think 1999.
Right, a long time ago is the point. So yeah, and I wanted to ask you, what do you? I don't know. I don't know if we've had you on since the whole Ichiro trade. Maybe we have had you on, but what do you think that trade's meant to this team? A lot of people who we've had on the show are saying it was just kind of made
to sell jerseys.
Because Ichiro's not the same guy he was. He can't really steal as well anymore. His batting average is down. I mean, it's still solid, but it's not 320, 310. So what's going on with Ichiro?
Well, I don't think it was made to sell jerseys. I think it was a minor move with major headlines.
Right.
I mean, the Yankees have been batting him at the bottom of the lineup. They knew from the start. Look, they gave up 2 non-prospects. The worst that can happen from that trade is DJ Mitchell becoming a number 4 or a number 5 starter in the major leagues. They gave up nothing. They got back a player who they recognize is not the great leadoff hitter that he used to be. They recognize that he's a guy who you put in the lineup. He provides a massive upgrade in left field, provides speed on bases that they're not going to be getting out of Brett Gardner. Even his 12-game hit streak, he had a hit in each of his first 12 games as a Yankee, but he had 1 hit in each. He's simply not. Nobody's questioning that he's a diminished player. I know when he got traded, I heard people around here talking, oh, look at that. He's going to take shots at that right field porch. He's going to be revitalized by coming into a postseason race. You know what? He's simply not that good a hitter anymore. He's never been a guy to draw walks. He's always relied on getting those slap singles. He's not getting them as frequently. When he gets on, he's a threat to steal still. It's not. He's lost his step, and that's why he won't get as many infield singles, though he got one last night. He's lost his step, but he's still an excellent base runner. He's able to make great reads on the pitcher, able to steal bases very effectively. And again, his outfield play so far, his first stint in left field ever as a major leaguer. In fact, I think he said it's the first time ever in his life he's been a left fielder. So far, he's played great defense, something they were not getting out of Raul Ibanez and Andrew Jones. So they recognize that this trade was nothing more than a minor upgrade, and viewing it as that, the trade's been a great success.
But a quick correction, the Orioles actually made it in 1997, the last time they were in the postseason. I want to go to John Sterling's call that was made a few weeks ago on Ichiro's first home run as a Yankee, where he said the Yankees have a rising sun, say sayonara. People made a big deal out of the call. I didn't personally think it was such a big deal. Want to get your thoughts about it, and if things have died down. I don't imagine much of a backlash now, but at the time it was a story that Yahoo Sports put up and showed a video. Want to get your thoughts on the Sterling call?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on the Sterling calls as a whole, I think they're a shtick that have kind of worn thin, and I think I've heard him kind of say as much. He started doing it, people liked it, so he decided he should keep doing it. So I don't really think that much of any of them, but I don't see anything offensive about anything he does. I mean, he uses, when Russell Martin hits a home run, he speaks French. He tried when a player. He said this. He said this, that when a player is acquired by the Yankees, he sits down and comes up with a home run call. And there's really nothing that creative about this one. It was pretty easy to come up with. And if anyone was thinking it was offensive, people like to be offended these days.
Right on. So, what I was thinking when I heard that was, I've heard worse things called in general on, the Howard Stern show and that type of thing, and the rising sun is the Japanese flag, so that's not so offensive. Sayonara is how you say goodbye in Japanese, so to me it wasn't like a racial slur. So I don't understand why they made such a big deal. Well, John Sterling, I guess he's not going to stop. I mean, people, like you said, just put up with it at this point. They like it, they don't, but it's not like they're going to not listen to the game because of it.
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, he is the play-by-play voice of the Yankees. If you're a Yankee fan and you're in the car, you're going to listen to him. You might laugh a few times. You might at times be told something that isn't actually happening, but you're still going to listen.
Yeah. I mean,
right on.
Yeah, I think that was said very well. Of course, I have a lot of family in New York, and they pretty much say the same thing that you did, maybe not in as nice of a way that you said it, but very true. And, looking at this division, it's very sad to see my Jays in dead last. I'm not very happy about that. But it's still, Bobby V came out with another bonehead, stupid statement saying he believes this team is a playoff team. I mean, it could very well be a playoff team. But, we've had you on now since a long time. What was it, April, the start of the season. So, is Bobby V going to be there? I mean, is he going to get fired at the end of the season if they don't make the playoffs?
I mean, this week he got the dreaded vote of confidence. John Henry, the owner of the Red Sox, came out and said, yes, we believe in Bobby Valentine as our manager. Usually that means you've got a couple of months left. Ben Cherington, the general manager, even when someone asked about Bobby Valentine's status, he said, we don't have a timeline on that stuff. He refused to say he'll make it through the season. And look, as I said at the beginning of the season, the issues with the Red Sox, I don't know if there's any manager that can resolve their clubhouse. They've just got a volatile mix of people. It's a culture that I don't know if one man can come in and fix. They tried going from Terry Francona to Bobby Valentine, which is a distinct change in direction, and as you see, nothing actually changed. So I think a lot of the issues with the Red Sox is not so much the clubhouse, not the manager. It's that between injuries and extremely subpar performance, they're just not as good a team as they were expected to be. And no manager, I believe, could have really made them much better than they really are.
Right, but you know what, David, I'm just going to play devil's advocate with you. Maybe they're just saying that to the media and behind closed doors, everyone is saying this guy's out of there. They're just saying this, so they can make a run of the playoffs, and they can, they want money. At the end of the day, they want to win, and they also want money. They generate more money by going to the playoffs. Maybe that's just my, bad side or cynical side saying that. But do you think that's possible too? Do you think they're just kind of saying that to make us or the media think that this is what's going on, but really behind closed doors they're saying Bobby's out of there at the end of the season, even if we do make the playoffs?
Oh, well, certainly. They're not going to come out today and tell us, we're planning on firing Bobby Valentine. You can't exactly do that. But that's why I think that in them coming out and refusing to say, a direct question was asked, will Bobby Valentine be fired this season?
Right.
And Ben Cherington said, we won't put a timetable on that. So they're not going to come out and say, yeah, his job is on the line, but from all indications, it would seem that it is.
Okay, interesting stuff there. Let's now move to Oakland, which it's been a great story. As we mentioned earlier in the show, we've had Louis Wolf, the owner of the A's, on, and I found working with the A's, getting him on was very nice. The people in the organization are very, very nice people. And Mr. Wolf, Ari, wouldn't you say, was a very nice man for an owner?
And a billionaire.
Right.
Pretty humble.
Yeah, very humble guy, very, very nice to us. And, at the start of the season, everyone was ripping Billy because, of course, they signed Manny, and they got the guy from Cuba for a lot of money, Oakland-wise. And they got rid of a lot of guys as usual. They got rid of some of their pitchers who have been doing well with other teams, especially the Nationals. But this kind of came out of nowhere. They've been playing so well. What do you attribute that to? What do you think has been the key for this 9 games over 500 Oakland A team, which is just rolling right now, and honestly 29th in batting average, 27th in on-base percentage, 24th in slugging percentage, 23rd in runs. So it's the pitching and I guess timely hitting, because the leader in batting average is 260. So how is this happening right now?
Well, that's what it is. We've talked about this before, and it's kind of what I believe with Baltimore, that Baltimore, they're undefeated in or they have a great record in 1-1 games, undefeated in extra innings. I think there are.
David, can you hear us?
You look at the record, you look at the run differentials, how they're winning. They're making it very difficult on themselves. But again, we're at that point deep in the season where they've already won enough games like that you can realistically see them continuing to win the same way. It's really been, again, Yoenis Cespedes at the beginning of the season. I mean, I wrote a whole column talking about how he would flop. I'm not exactly going to go back on that. I had sound reasoning to believe it, but I got to give Billy Beane credit. My whole question with that signing centered around how unproven he was, how all his production was coming as a 26-year-old in the equivalent of single-A ball. I expected he'd get to the majors, maybe hit a little bit, and pitchers would figure him out, and he'd collapse. And he has remained throughout the season a consistent performer, a top producer. And with moves like that just seem to always pan out, with young players like Jemile Weeks, the acquisition of Brandon Inge, these things just always seem to work out for Billy Beane and the A's. Jared Parker has been pitching very well. The rookie, Bartolo Colon, picked up from the Yankees,
right,
having a nice season.
A great season at 3.38. Sorry, go ahead.
No, they've managed to keep up despite, as you said, having barely any offense and a pitching staff that isn't necessarily elite. They've managed to keep it going, and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Josh Reddick, as I mentioned, 260 batting average, 25 home runs, 58 RBIs, and 108 hits, leading the team in all the categories I just said. So I think that's based off at-bats. I think it has to be a specific amount of at-bats.
But again, that's the weird thing. He leads the team with a 260 batting average.
Right. The Rays, though, I remember we had Chaim Bloom yesterday, director of baseball operations from the Rays yesterday. It's the same thing for the Rays. The Rays are doing really, really poorly right now, batting-wise, but the pitching is keeping them in the game. And you look at this lineup that Oakland has, there's some guys that you just remember from other teams, Coco Crisp, Johnny Gomes, just guys who are kind of journeyman guys on other teams that have had to really step up for this team. And you mentioned Inge, of course, from the Tigers. So, yeah, I think it'll be very, very exciting to see. And on the other hand, another side of this, David, we got the Angels, who have really been up and down. I mean, they started the season horrible. They bounced back when Trout was called up. Trout's had an amazing year. Believe Pujols is up to 25 home runs, which means he'll hit 30, which is just pretty remarkable considering the first, 2 months he had.
Pretty much homerless.
Right. This division suddenly is very, very interesting. What do you see out of the Angels in the next month?
Well, again, the Angels, they're a game back of the A's, a few games back of the Rangers, and despite, as you said, they spent their first month with Albert Pujols barely hitting, with Mike Trout in AAA. Since Pujols showed up and Mike Trout was called up and put together the best season in AL, maybe baseball overall, since then the Angels have been the best team in the division. And though they just lost a couple to the A's, they lost 2 out of 3. I don't know if they can catch the Rangers. The Rangers have that nice, comfortable lead, and Josh Hamilton seems to be getting his swing back. The Rangers are still kind of cruising along. But the Angels, I would most certainly expect them to overtake the A's by the end of the season. I don't know if the A's sneak in as the second wild card, if they and Baltimore are going to battle out for that. Tampa Bay is going to be in the mix. And then you can't forget about Detroit and Chicago in the Central. Detroit, the Yankees might have beaten them last night, but as we saw in the first 2 games, they're finally hitting the way that they were expected to hit coming into the season. And then with Verlander and then Fisher and Porcello giving them something, Scherzer giving them a little bit, the Tigers are a threat. I believe they'll overtake the White Sox in the AL Central, which will put the White Sox in that mix for the final wild card. So it's very possible the AL West sends 3 teams to the playoffs.
Wow.
It's possible they only send 1.
Right.
Things are getting very confusing. It's this first season with the 2 wild cards. No one exactly knows how that's going to play out, but it's making for, and I guess this was the point, to make for more races. Now, there will be times, I'm sure, when the second wild card actually backfires, and on the whole, I don't like it. But as for keeping more teams in the race and making for multiple races on different divisional fronts, it's getting very exciting.
Yeah, I just want to ask you real quick to compare Mike Trout and Miguel Cabrera, because Rafi's of the opinion that Mike Trout's the MVP. Cabrera, though, is in the top 3 of home runs, RBI, batting average. I want to know right now if Cabrera, in my opinion, Cabrera's the MVP. I want to get your thoughts. I get the feeling you're a Trout guy, but wanted to confirm for you for sure which one you like for the MVP.
Well, most certainly I'm a Trout guy. I mean, you look at he's getting on base more effectively than Cabrera. He's hitting for power. Cabrera's obviously more powerful, but Mike Trout is a speedy center fielder who's got over 20 home runs in 3-4 months. There's nothing he can't do. You know, coming into the season with all the talk about Bryce Harper, I was very insistent that Mike Trout had a better chance to become the great player that they're being talked about as. Bryce Harper, if everything goes right, if he develops his skill set completely, he may at some point overtake Trout and behind that power actually become a better player. But Mike Trout came up to the majors with the approach of a veteran, with all the skills. He was a fully developed player at age 20, just turned 21 a couple of days ago. He was a fully developed player, and now all he's going to do for the next 7-10 years, he's going to physically mature. And as he does that, he's going to become even scarier. You see what he's doing now, and you wonder if there's any limit. You know, for years we've heard everybody gets compared to a Mickey Mantle or to some other all-time great that might have played their position. I'm buying the Trout to Mantle comparisons. There is nothing on the baseball field that I don't think Mike Trout can do, and what you see now is only a glimpse of what he's going to be in 5 to 10 years.
Okay, fair enough. I mean,
yeah, very well said.
Very well said. You're right. He certainly has all the tools. Hits for average, certainly a great defensive player.
And young,
fast.
man. Very young guy. But, you know, Ari, Cabrera is a great player, and it'd be nice to see him maybe get the MVP because Trout will have his chances. And I'm not saying Cabrera won't, but Cabrera is obviously an older guy. Has been probably one of the best players in baseball, maybe the most underrated just because he's...
In the last 10 years, look at his numbers.
Look at his numbers, but he's not the guy who's going to be on the face of Upper Deck or Cola. He's the guy who's maybe going to be drunk before a game.
Right.
But
personality issues.
But a great player. And even I think his numbers are probably much better with Florida, but still great stuff there.
All right, David, we have to run. We have to let you go. But before we do, please give us a plug for your radio show and tell us how we can listen to it and tell the fans how they can listen to it.
Yes, the W Show actually has now been expanded. It is now on at 5 Eastern, which means you can now catch it at midnight in Israel.
A little earlier.
So there you go. You don't have to stay until 1 a.m. You can now, at midnight in Israel, every Monday, Tuesday, the Monday-Tuesday connection over there. And if you can't stay up live, you can always catch the podcast on mtrmedia.com. This week we had on Jeff Passan of Yahoo Sports chatting about baseball. We've had many great guests, including Ari Louis. So, yeah, you can check all those podcasts out on mtrmedia.com.
Okay.
And Jeff Passan, great. That's a great guest, David. Good job.
Yes, indeed.
One of my favorite writers.
Yes. All right, David, thank you so much. We'll speak to you next time. Be well out there.
All right, you too. Take care.
All right, David Dubbin. I love having him on. He's such a nice guy and really knows the stuff. And
yeah, very good.
It's fun to be on his show as well.
Yeah, listen to his show. Very interesting show. Likes to keep it going, and very, very good stuff and good guest. Jeff Passan's one of the best baseball writers by far, up there with. Excuse me, I lost choke there. Jerry Krasnick and Jason Stark from ESPN, Tim Kirchin, all those guys. Buster Only, Peter Gammons, etc. Wow, ESPN has a lot of good baseball writers.
Yeah,
thought about that.
Gammons is probably my favorite.
Gammons, is he still doing anything? I don't think he really is that often. I don't see his face anymore. on ESPN that much. They've kind of switched to, I think Barry Larkin, who's just inducted to the Hall of Fame, is now part of the new Baseball Tonight, and of course Francona, Terry Francona is now also, and Dan Shulman, who we need to have on. We haven't had him on in a while. It'd be nice to have Dan back on the program, maybe preview the postseason and MLB that he'll probably be calling. Or no, Fox has the rights to the playoffs, or does ESPN have some rights? ESPN has wild card, I think.
I think the Fox is the CS, the Championship Series, and the World Series.
Okay, so we could talk to him, and of course he is also the voice of college basketball with Dick Vitale every Sunday or every Saturday when they have the college game day Saturday, that is. So yeah, very exciting stuff. And just a quick announcement. Monday, Ari's not going to be very happy. This is pretty much a soccer show. It's a Premier League preview for the upcoming year. It's, 3 of our 4 guests will be soccer guests. Actually, it was not done on purpose, but we just realized it. And Moshe will be in the studio to help out. Ari will be here as well because we have a great guest from CBS Sports NFL to talk about the upcoming season. But it will be a soccer guest. And in more big news, actually, I guess we can wait till the end.
Or make an announcement at the end, yes. Okay, so we're going to take a break. On the other side, we'll have a very special PTI segment.
Ding, ding.
Yes. So check that out. That's going to be a lot of fun. Also, check out the store as well. This is Louis Live.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
This is Tamar Cass, and you're listening to Israel Sports Radio.
Shalom from the United States. I'm Gina Pitts.
Parrish Graham.
Mike Pitts.
Roosevelt Hall.
Mike Roy.
We're your friends from the Pro Sports Lives radio show on WAFS Biz 1190 AM. You're listening to Louis Live.
Broadcasting live from Israel. IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Sports Strain Seat C, Compression Fit, UV Protection, Moisture Wicking, Anti-Odor, and Physique Enhancing. Certified by the Circle K. Sports Strains is a revolutionary seat garment that features high-performance properties and a compression fit, offering the wearer ultimate comfort and style for sports and everyday wear. Custom logos and team jerseys are available. For orders, please visit TamirGoodman.com. That's TamirGoodman.com.
Broadcasting live from Jerusalem, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Support Barak Netanya, Israeli professional basketball team, as they give back to the children of Netanya through Netanya Hoops for Kids. Netanya Hoops for Kids serves all of the children of Netanya, especially the ones that need us most. Through basketball clinics held by professional players, at-risk children learn life skills like teamwork, communication, discipline, and community responsibility from real-life heroes. Netanya Hoops for Kids partners with the municipality, schools, and local nonprofits to bring thousands of children to basketball games each season. Join us as a donor, partner, or fan. One city, one team, one family. www.netanyahoopsforkids.org.
The biggest names in sports are all on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
DJ Venom. DJ Venom. DJ Venom. DJing parties throughout Israel. Birthday parties, weddings, club events, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and much more. You pick the type of music, and DJ Venom will turn your event into the party of the year. Available Sunday through Thursday. Call 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. That's 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. Book your party today. That's DJ Venom.
This is Dimitri Salita, and you're listening to IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Building love of Israel, one sports fan at a time. IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Back here on Louis Live.
Now, update the bronze game that the U.S. will participate. Well, excuse me, they're in the top.
What?
When are the next games for the U.S.?
The games are on Shabbat, Friday night. The semifinals, the U.S. against Argentina at 10 p.m. and Spain against Russia, which is supposed to be, I mean, this is probably the game of the tournament, unless it's Spain against America. First semifinals at 7, then finals are Sunday at 5 or 7 local time. So,
let's get it started. You gonna
I'll start
PTI?
off, do a little PTI. We have about 13 minutes, so we'll have about maybe 8 to 10 different events. And, let's start off with some women's hoops. Ari, I know you're into that.
Excellent.
USA right now is playing Australia as well, because, of course, the USA men's played Australia last night. They're playing Australia as well, they're playing the semifinals, and it's 20-20. Ari, is this game, it's 20-20, the end of the first quarter. Is this game going to be a blowout by the end?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be close. The women's team has Diana Taurasi and has the WNBA players we're used to seeing, but I don't see the same amount of dominance. Remember, a lot of these players in the WNBA play in Europe and other places in the off-season to supplement their income.
Who's the star of the Australian team?
That'd be Lauren Jackson.
That would be Lauren Jackson. So this is a team she's not even a star. She's a superstar in the WNBA.
Multi-MVP winner.
Right.
I believe she's won 3 MVPs, which is the most in WNBA history. She won an MVP in a season the Storm did not make the playoffs. That's how dominant she's been with Seattle.
Right. She was, wasn't she kind of like the new Lisa Leslie once Lisa kind of departed the game?
But she's a lot better than Lisa Leslie. Lisa Leslie is a little more awkward than Laura Jackson. Laura Jackson is a great post player, and her and Sue Bird have made the combination of Stockton and Malone. So they could very well lose this game. And I don't think it would be a disappointment. I know in the past when the American women team wins a bronze or doesn't win the gold, they're disappointed. And they should be disappointed, but it's not a disaster like if the American team doesn't get the gold. This Australia team is a very good team. I expect to be close no matter who wins the ball game tonight, as it's going on right now.
Ring that bell, but just a fun fact before we move on. 4 UConn starters right now. Sue Bird, Maya Moore, Tina Charles, and Diana Taurasi. So, and then, of course, do they have... No, that's all the UConn players they have on the team. But so 4 out of the 5.
Gino should be very proud right now.
Right, and Tamika Catchings, who's going to be on the show, by the way, from Tennessee. So Tennessee, UConn right now. Anyway, moving on.
I was scared when Tamika and Indiana played my Mercury in the WNBA Finals.
Go Fever. Went to a game once. It was fun.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Okay, so let's talk. I love talking MVP and love talking Cy Young. National League, who is more your MVP? Andrew McCutchen of Pittsburgh or Carlos Beltran of St. Louis? Beltran first in RBI and second in home runs. So the power numbers are with Beltran. Go ahead.
I think you got to give it to Andrew just because the Pirates haven't made the playoffs since the early 90s. And they, if a guy can lead the Pirates to the playoffs and he can, what is his average right now?
370.
Yeah, 370?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was 50, but if a guy can do that and really be the face of this team, when was the last time Pittsburgh had a face of a team? I mean,
go back to Barry Bonds.
Bobby Bonilla, Barry Bonds, those type of guys. If he can do that, Carlos Beltran is this distinguished player, been top 5 in the MVP before. Everyone knows who he is. Getting paid a lot of money with the Cardinals, with the Mets, with the Giants, with Houston. Everyone knows this. Give it to Andrew. I think Andrew deserves it the most. I mean, he's having an amazing year. He's had a couple good years last year, so this is kind of his breakout year. And no one's really talking about him because it's Pittsburgh and no one cares about the Pirates, to be honest. It's true. They're kind of
small
like
market.
They're
right?
they're kind of like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a team in another sport that.
Well, they're kind of like small market wise. They're like the Spurs.
Right, but I was gonna say that, but you can't compare them just because the Spurs are
won 4
good.
titles.
Right, they're maybe like Golden State Warriors. No one, like, even if they go to the playoffs, no one really cares. It's one of those things where they're just kind of there. But
I agree with you. McCutchen, by the way, it's not like he has a low amount of home runs. He has 23 home runs. That's 3 less than Beltran. And RBI, he has 9 less. But the 270 average compared to Beltran's 284. So you're talking about almost 100 points, about 85 more points. So that is another difference. And the Pirates being where they're at.
Right. Okay, so now moving on to our next thing, and this is, I thought we were done talking about this, but just kind of breaking news now, and I'll get Ari Louis' thoughts on this. Actually, excuse me, this is a different topic, but Ari, I don't know if you followed this story, the Bobby Paterno story at Arkansas football.
No, I did not.
Okay, you did not follow that story. That's fine. We'll do a different one. You can maybe ask me that later. My apologies. But I guess let's go with this one. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the Jets camp. I'm sure you've heard about that. The guys have been pushing each other, yelling at each other, getting in fights. Last year, of course, we saw Santonio Holmes battle it out with Sanchez. In that last game, the team that was supposed to go to the Super Bowl went 8-8. Very disappointing year. Ari, should we believe things should be different? I mean, they don't really have a running game. They don't necessarily have the best quarterback. Their receivers are crazy. Tim Tebow is in the background. The defense is not as good as it used to be. So is this team, still a good team?
They're not winning the Super Bowl.
Are they a playoff team? Are they a playoff team?
Oh, they're borderline. I mean, if they're 8-8 last season, if they can add 2 wins, they go to 10-6, they can get in. I don't know if there are 2 more wins plus with their additions. And I don't think Tebow is necessarily worth 2 more wins if he's not playing. He can't really help that much the team if he's not playing. If he's a backup, he won't be playing. If he starts, he'll have a chance to get them to 10 wins. I think the guarantee that Rex Ryan made last year, winning the Super Bowl, really is going to come and bite him in the you-know-what, because his motivation and his projection was very, very great the first 2 years. I don't know if you know this, but he sat the team down before the postseason. This was a couple of years ago. And not only told them how they're going to win each postseason game, he planned out the Super Bowl route in Manhattan after they won the Super Bowl trophy. So I actually like that, and they went to the AFC title, and I think he got more out of them. He certainly got an upgrade from the team. But saying the Super Bowl guarantee and then not win the Super Bowl, I think, is going to hurt them this season.
Yeah, let me ask you another question, just a part 2 of this, before we go to the bell, extend the bell for another minute, 20 seconds, 2 minutes. I was reading a great article by a columnist, I believe, in the New York Post, maybe it was the Times. Why do we think that the Ravens didn't promote Rex Ryan? It was a great article. You should check it out. It was a great,
He was the defensive coordinator with the Ravens, and they had the best defense in the National Football League.
Best defense in the football. Of course, they ended up getting Harbaugh, who's also a brother of Jim Harbaugh, who's now the coach of the 49ers, former coach of the Stanford Cardinal. But why don't they promote within the group?
It might be personality issues.
Yeah, I think that not a lot of teams want to deal with Rex. AFC Championship game is the AFC Championship game. That's not the Super Bowl, though. Let's not forget that. And
but top 4 for 2 years.
Yeah, but not a Super Bowl.
He's loud and he's obnoxious, and people maybe don't want to deal with him. It's true.
It's fine though. There used to be this whole talk with Bill Belichick being loud and obnoxious, not loud, but being obnoxious to the media and annoying, and everyone kind of couldn't stand it. But he would back it up. And I'm not talking about AFC Championship. I'm talking about Super Bowl rings.
No, that's a good point.
So, and 5 Super Bowls. 2 that were in the game in the fourth quarter, but we won't go into that more because I'll start crying. But yeah, that's just that. I guess we can move on to the next topic, and it's you.
Well, since I didn't follow the Bobby Petrino thing,
okay,
that's what I want to know about. Tell us about the
All
Bobby
right, I'll
Petrino
tell
story.
everyone about the Bobby Petrino. It was a story about the Arkansas football coach. Bobby, of course, was the coach of the Falcons for a year, Ari, if you remember.
Yes, and he left. By the way, he left the Tuesday after a Monday night game.
Right.
He coached the Falcons in a Monday night game. Tuesday was the coach in Arkansas.
Right. So he came from Louisville. Louisville's powerhouse football program. Then went to Atlanta, left, went to Arkansas. Arkansas, he hired a mistress that he had to work in the football department.
That's not that smart.
Arkansas has been amazing the last 2 years. Top 10 in football and top 3 team in the SEC, which really means top 10 in the country because, you got in the SEC, Florida, and all these amazing, amazing schools. So gets fired, Ari. Gets fired for doing this, giving $25,000 or hiring one of his mistress for a job, getting a car accident, kind of Tiger Woods-ish, with this woman. And he just came out today. He hasn't really said anything, but he said, I think he had a press conference today saying what are the line? We'll give you the exact line. Can't believe I screwed up so bad. So, yeah. Who cares? Who cares, Bobby?
He's supposed to lead young men.
Yeah, supposed to lead young men out there on the field and supposed to being a football coach.
For real life.
Inspire them for real life. Morals, ethics, values. Ugh. He's going to get hired. He's going to get hired by maybe Texas A&M State or something, by a small school, build himself back up and maybe get another chance. Or who knows, maybe a team like a small team like Indiana who sucks at football, or I don't know. I'm trying. Washington State. Washington has a new coach, but teams in the Big Six that are horrible, maybe we'll give him a chance. But it's really not cool. Not unclassic guy, and just And an update. Ari, 37-22, Australia. Uh-oh.
Well, I thought it'd be close, but I told you I'm not surprised Australia if they win this game at all.
Moore and Jackson, yeah.
U.S. is going to make their run. Don't worry, U.S. fans. But Australia very well could win this game. Won't be surprised.
And yeah, good for Australian hoops. So good effort against the USA yesterday, and 39-32 right now. 7-0 run right now because it's 32-32. And then the next game will be France against Russia. And, of course, all the WNBA players go to Russia. So the Russian teams, will not be shy, Ari, against these people because they play against them. The European League, in fact, Ari, is longer than the WNBA. So they play, and we'll find that out ourselves later this year. So they're not going to be scared to go up against Taraji and all these guys. And I think this is also new.
All these guys?
I say guys for everything, but I think this is a great example to show that world sports have gotten better. U.S. women's soccer is not the dominant team they used to be. They're playing Japan, by the way, in the finals. Everyone should check that out. The game against Canada was very exciting. Ari, I know you don't watch soccer, but it was a very, very exciting game. And
just a quick thing about Petrino, it's such BS and it's such a hypocrisy. They have these coaches that are supposed to lead young men and give them morality and all this stuff, and they should have not hired him. They should have not hired him in the first place. This is a guy who cheated on the Falcons. He's busy looking for another job during the Falcons season, and he should have not taken the paycheck from the Falcons for that season because he was not into the team at all. Now, Raphael, I'm going to ask you one last topic before we move on to Zachary Rigg.
Yeah.
That's Tiger Woods. He's playing the PGA Championship.
Right.
I believe he has not won a major since that whole scandal. Correct me if I'm wrong?
No, he's had a good year, though. He's had a good year, but no, he has not won a major.
Looking for major number 15, by the way.
Right.
So,
trying to catch Jack.
Is he getting it this weekend? Tournament starts today, Thursday.
Yeah, it's actually underway right now. We even have some reports for you looks like most people are not wrapping up the day. It's still early out there in South Carolina. But yeah, I think he's going to win it.
He has a nice progression this year.
Right.
It's his best year since the scandal.
Right, 2 wins, come in second place. I think it came in second place in a major. Was the I'm trying to think, maybe top 3. I'm blanking right now. It's hard to memorize 20 million different sports things. But Tiger Woods right now, 2 shots back from the lead. I know it just started, but yeah, you know what? Why not? Why not? Let him win. He paid his price, just like Michael Vick went to jail. And Tiger Woods really paid his price.
Literally,
he did.
He paid $300 million to his ex-wife.
He paid $300 million. He lost a lot of things. He had to go through a lot. He had to walk in the street when everyone knew everything. I mean, not saying he deserves it, but it wasn't like it got off easy, like the Dante Stallworth who kills a man when he was drunk and goes to jail for 28 days, or Snoop Dogg who killed someone and doesn't go to jail. It wasn't one of those things. He dealt with it. It affected his game. He was horrible from 2009 really to 2011. And he is a good guy. I mean, I know that might be a bad thing to say on the radio, but I just did. And I think
he likes a lot of women.
Yeah, he learned his lesson. There are worse things you can do.
I don't know if he's learned his lesson. He'll probably do it again. But
he doesn't have to do it again or he doesn't have to worry about what he's doing because his wife is divorced.
Right. I mean, maybe the answer for him is not to get married if he's.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty sure these women who he has these one-night stands don't expect them to have relationships.
Right.
So
he's a sexaholic. I mean,
yeah,
that's what it is.
But just to update everyone, Carl Patterson, who's awesome, and Roy McIlroy, one of the up-and-coming stars right now in the top 3 spots right now. John Daly. John Daly's in the house. He's in this, doing well. I know it's the first day. It's a Thursday.
John Daly's won 2 majors, by the way, in his career.
Right. I mean, he's a guy that everyone just knows just from his drinking and I guess his winning. Jeff Ogilvy's doing well. What is the line in?
John Daly's ex-wife wrote a book called Teed Off.
Right. Yeah. No, John Daly's a very interesting guy. It'd be interesting to have him on for an interview one day. But yeah, just as I was saying, the usual suspects. David Toms tied for Levichev. Ogilvy, is tied for 4th. Ian Poulter from England tied for 4th. Just looking at some maybe notables. Roy Sabatini from South Africa tied for 22nd. Jim Furyk, 26th. Still haven't seen, looking for just some more notables for all you golf fans. I'm surprised Ari asked that question, honestly, because never heard him talk about golf before. But Adam Scott not doing so well. But Zach Johnson also not. Vijay Singh, where's Vijay gone, Ari?
Right,
Ernie Wells. He was number one in the world for a little bit.
Yeah, he was.
And
he fell off
same
the
with
map.
Ernie Els from South Africa.
He pulled a David Duval. David Duval he was ahead of Tiger Woods in the late 90s and just mentally fell off the map and went down to 113 or whatever.
Right, and Retief Goosen, South African, Phil Mickelson, all tied for 79s, which, I mean, there's 30 guys tied for 79, so they're not doing well. Tiger, like I said, Tiger right now, for our huge Tiger fans, tied for 11th, -2, 3 shots back. I mean, I want him to win.
I think everyone does. I mean, even if you really, how long can you dislike the guy for something like that type of crime? It wasn't like he
didn't kill anyone.
He didn't steal money, and his ex-wife is fine. I mean,
well, I don't know. All right, we don't, scarring and
$300 million.
It's love, man. She loved him, and
I love $300 million.
All right, come on though. She betrayed him. They were married. He completely betrayed her, and she has to deal with that. Yeah, she has the money, but money won't buy love. That's
You know what they say in America?
Saying.
50% of the spouses say they cheat on their wives, and the other 50% are lying.
Right.
I mean, like, you're going to live in America and you're marrying an athlete, like, that's going to happen. And not everyone gets $300 million.
I know, but whatever. I don't know. Think of it. Everyone can hear it.
I'm kind of joking. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
wasn't pleasant.
It's her husband, and they have kids. Think about the kids.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a good situation. But nonetheless, yes, she's $300 million richer. And if you think she didn't have any money before the $300, you're wrong too. So
she had money before the marriage?
No, but you think she had 0 pennies before he had to give her the $300 million? You don't think he's bought her purses and houses and cars? And not to mention Tiger Woods, Ari Night's segment, Tiger Woods is still in the top 5 for annual salary, despite everything that's
even
happened.
losing all those endorsements.
Right, because he still has the Nike one, which I don't think will ever be cut, even if you killed someone.
It's so fascinating because it's like out of a Greek tragedy, the whole story, that he has everything and just had to kind of mess it up. For whatever reason.
Not only that it has everything, but was a role model among everything. And let's see if Zach's on.
Yes, so...
Is Zach on with us?
Zach's not on. Yes, let's see here.
Let's reach out to him and see if he's there. Awesome having Zach Lee Rigg on. Really good guy. One of our favorites here, soccer analyst. I think it's his 4th, 5th time. And he does a great job at goal.com. So we're very excited to have him on, and he should be there. He knows we're doing the interview. Maybe we should take a minute commercial break because we're due. We had a good segment here.
Yeah, let's take a commercial break, and then we're ready. As tradition is, we're going to Skype call.
Skype to Skype.
Skype to Skype. It's a really clear line. It's one of the clearest lines you can
right,
get.
let's take a commercial.
Yes, it's almost like you hear him in the room. All right, this is Louis live on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Talk network in the Middle East. IsraelSportsRadio.com.
This is Tamar Cass, and you're listening to Israel Sports Radio.
Shalom from the United States. I'm Gina Pitts.
Parrish Graham.
Mike Pitts.
Roosevelt Hall.
Mike Roy.
We're your friends from the Pro Sports Lives radio show on WAFS Biz 1190 AM. You're listening to Louis Live.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Sports Strain Seat C, compression fit, UV protection, moisture wicking, anti-odor, and physique enhancing. Certified by the Circle K. Sports Strange is a revolutionary seat garment that features high performance properties and a compression fit, offering the wearer ultimate comfort and style for sports and everyday wear. Custom logos and team jerseys are available. For orders, please visit TamirGoodman.com. That's TamirGoodman.com. Back from that 1-minute commercial break here on Louis Live on IsraelSportsRadio.com. We're now going to go out to Zach Lee Rigg of Goal.com. And you're going to hear, again, a really clear sound.
Right, Skype to Skype. And
Zach, can you hear us?
Hello, how's it going?
Excellent.
It's going great.
I love this connection.
Yeah, this is great. You're one of the only guys who we Skype to Skype, but we love it. It's the best connection, and it's always a good time.
Sounds like you're in the room with us, Zach.
All right, so we're on right now with Zach Lee Rigg from Goal.com. And Zach, I just want to first off say you've written some great articles so far that I've been reading in my news feed and Facebook. So everyone should check out Goal.com in Israel. Maybe a lot of people don't know about it in Israel, but of course it's the best soccer website in the world. I want to first start off and ask you about the opportunity you had to meet Cristiano Ronaldo. You were part of the team that compiled the top 50 list for Goal.com, but can you tell our listeners out there what it was like to meet Cristiano? Because in the media, we all know him as that arrogant guy who's very rude all the time and this and that, but I'm sure he wasn't like that in person, or maybe he was. Let us know.
I would just like to clarify, I wasn't part of the team that voted on who won the Goal.com 50. Casillas came in second ahead of Messi, and I want nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Very nice.
It was very interesting to meet Ronaldo. He's far more charming in person than you'd imagine. I mean, he gives you this wink and a thumbs up, and it's just a charismatic move, and your heart melts a little bit.
No, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, he's that type of guy, and I just thought that was really, really cool that you got to meet him, just because he's one of the top. We've had an argument on the show about Messi and Ronaldo and, their difference and how would Messi be without Iniesta and this and that. And we could go on with that forever, but we're not going to do that because there's a lot of great stories going on right now, and we haven't had you on in 3 weeks. And in the world of football, 3 weeks is a long time. So let's start off with some interesting comments that Brendan Rodgers has been making over at Liverpool, saying that all this kind of hate and all this anger towards Suarez is only going to help him in the long run. Zach, what are your thoughts on those comments by Rodgers?
There are certain players who seem to thrive on angering people and just sort of living off their hate. I suppose Suarez could be one of those. He's done enough in his career that people don't really like him anymore. I imagine this is Rodgers putting a positive spin on the fact that most people don't like his best player.
Right.
There's only so many ways you can spin that.
Right.
If it helps make him a little bit better, I suppose that's a good thing for Rodgers.
Right. While playing for Uruguay and England was completely booed. I remember watching one of the matches. It was horrible. I think it was a Uruguay-Senegal match. Every time he touched the ball, you could hear all the British fans just booing him. But sticking with Liverpool, what's exactly going to go on with Carroll? I mean, he doesn't fit in the style of Rodgers, and he wants to stay, which, I don't really understand that just because, there's a lot of good teams that would probably want him. Liverpool dished a lot of money to get him, and he didn't really live up to the hype. Showed some flashes, but do you think he's going to end up being on the roster, or is another big team going to try and pick him up from a different league, or what's going to happen with Andy?
First of all, I understand him not wanting to leave because he's not. His talent level isn't really that good enough for Liverpool. So the next club he goes to, the clubs going in for him are like West Ham.
Right.
And so he's going to take a step down. Is he going to stay? I don't know. Liverpool's going to take a huge loss on this deal, and I think they're prepared to do it because they realize that Brendan Rodgers' system doesn't have a spot for Carroll. And if they find a guy who's going to pay enough money to make it at least remotely feasible, I think they'll dump him.
Right, so I guess, you're right. Let me ask a better question then. Why did Liverpool spend, £25 million on him in the transfer last year? It
was 35.
35, okay. Even what did they see in him that made them believe that he was worth that type of money? Maybe you can help explain that to our listeners.
The way John W. Henry has explained it is they thought that Fernando Torres was worth £15 million more than Carroll. So whatever Newcastle was asking for, they wanted £15 million more from Chelsea. And it went up. They just kept going with that. And when Newcastle would only go for 35 on the last day of the transfer season, they sold Torres to Chelsea for $50 million. I'm not sure about that logic, but that's the excuse that the club has given. He obviously was never worth that much.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're just going to take a loss on that because it was one of the worst transfers in recent memory.
Yeah, no, that was very well said. Of course, Henry is also the principal owner of the Red Sox, so an American, which seems to be a big thing right now. So Aston Villa owned by an American. I think Lerner just sold the Browns, so he's not the Browns owner anymore. He just owns Aston Villa, so it'll be interesting to see what he does with that. Speaking of another transfer saga, which seems to be going on, and we had a great guest from England yesterday from ESPN England and BBC kind of try and break it down for us, but this Modric thing, Real Madrid apparently said, take it or leave it, or what's going to happen here? I mean, 30 million was the offer. Tottenham rejected it. It's obvious Modric does not want to be there. How does this play out? I mean, new manager this year. There's still a little time, but Zach, what do you think is going to happen?
I imagine that eventually Modric will leave, and that it's just going to take time for Tottenham to feel like they're getting their money's worth. It was interesting when Tottenham came to America, Modric wouldn't come, and Villas-Boas called it an act of rebellion, I believe.
Right.
Player revolt, even. And so what I heard was that Modric was being fined per day, and so he turned up for training in London pretty much the next day. So it was just so that he didn't come on this trip, and the club understood that he was serious about wanting to leave. Because he wanted to leave last year, too, of course.
Right.
And then Chelsea was in for him.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I did not know about him being fined, and I did know that he wasn't with the team in America. But so you expect him to eventually, I mean, at the start of this season, let's say in maybe September, October, he will be gone.
I would think by the end of the transfer window that he's playing for Real Madrid.
Okay, interesting stuff.
You
there.
never know for certain, but that's just my hunch.
Okay, cool. And, obviously, Goal.com, I'm not sure how your women's coverage is, but we couldn't have you on without talking about that USA-Canada game, because it just seems like women's soccer has been so exciting, especially the last World Cup. What was it, USA against Brazil, where there was an exciting goal, and now an exciting goal from Morgan. So I want to ask you, as a journalist in media, do you think Canada, lost this game, or did America win it, or what exactly happened? Because I don't know. I felt like Canada played better and deserved to win. So what do you think? I don't know if you even watched it.
I was talking to Cristiano Ronaldo right when this game was going on, so
okay.
I missed it.
Good excuse.
The feedback that I've seen is mostly based on that free kick in the box with the goalkeeper not releasing the ball within 10 seconds, and that's one of the most bizarre refereeing decisions that I've heard of. I don't understand that decision at all.
Right, and the Canadians, right, and it's sad because for Canada, I mean, this would be a huge thing. For America, obviously, it's a big thing too. But for Canada, this kind of, the whole country would be so proud of this. I'm Canadian. I know my family in Canada was watching, and usually they're too busy, already trying to get ready for the NHL season or watching curling or whatever's on TV. But people were watching this. Canada beat France today, so that's kind of the good news. But going ahead, USA-Japan, the rematch of the World Cup. Everyone kind of wanted Japan to win just because it was right after the devastating, earthquake at the time. So now it's 2 years later, more mature team from the U.S., pretty much the same roster in Japan. Should be a very, very, very interesting match. What do you expect? The USA hasn't played that well so far in this tournament, in my opinion, but what do you expect out of this match?
I expect a decent match. It'll be fun to see the same two teams again. What I think is interesting is that Japan's success wasn't a blip. They've completely revolutionized their programs,
right?
And it's starting to tell in the men's and the women's and the youth and everywhere. Japan is starting to just play really, really well and mark itself as a real player on the world field. And so we're seeing that, like, the women's World Cup win wasn't just a fluke from some, goodwill that passed on to them. This is a really good team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned it. Of course, Japan knocking out Spain in the men's tournament. Japan being led by, was it Hondu from Japan, who was a great player in the World Cup. So Japan has really picked it up, and that's great because they've dealt with so many economic problems, and as I mentioned, the earthquake. So that'll be an interesting match tonight, and we'll see what happens. I think the USA will probably pull it out, but it'd be interesting to see if Japan can win the World Cup and the Olympic gold medal. That would mean a lot of interesting things for women's soccer. Maybe a shakeup or something would have to happen. But let's move on now to an interesting thing just released by ESPN. Santos, president, of course, in Brazil, is saying that after Lucas transferred to Paris Saint-Germain PSG for $45 million, now the quote is, he's saying that Neymar is priceless. I mean, if Lucas is going to get $45 million, Lucas Moura is going to get $45 million, what kind of money do you expect Neymar getting? And I think it was you or another member of Goal.com who told us that they're not expecting anything until 2014. Is that correct?
Yeah, Neymar's always said that he wants to stay with Santos until after the World Cup.
Right, okay.
And Santos has worked to make that true as well. The Santos' president has a point here. Lucas Moura hasn't accomplished even a fraction of what Neymar has, and he's going for a ridiculous amount of money. That's an obscene amount of money. And I'm not sure that Lucas is worth it yet or tested enough yet that he deserves that. I mean, obviously, eventually Neymar will leave and he will have a price. But when you're the president of Santos, you have to do a little bit of grandstanding and try to build up your own player. I think that's legitimate.
Yeah, I mean, I want to ask you, do you think this is kind of just like PSG has that kind of money to shell and maybe a different team wouldn't give him that much money? You said it yourself, $45 million for him. And what are we going to expect when Neymar comes out? This is insane. Do you think this is part of the PSG just throwing out money saying, 45, 30 million, what's the difference? Is it that kind of thing, or is it just they really thought he was worth this amount?
Yeah, PSG came out and they outpriced Manchester United and Inter Milan.
Okay.
So they went out and beat two of the richest clubs in the world, although neither have been spending hugely lately. But this sort of spending isn't sustainable, and I think that PSG understands that they're spending an incredible amount now to build a team, and then they're going to stick with that team for a while. I don't think we're going to see them go out and buy every big star every year.
Right, and I mean, Man City was able to do this. I don't want to say quickly, but not that quickly, but they were able to do it and win the Premier League, and unfortunately not do so well in the Champions League. But how long do you think it should be until we start seeing PSG really become one of those powerhouses in the world, not just in France? Because in France they're doing fine. I believe they were in the top 3 in the group last year. But how long is it till we see them compete in the Champions League, till we hear players say they want to go there, till I guess you could say the new Man City? It seems kind of ridiculous to say, but how long do you think that will take until that happens?
I think I've heard that PSG's plan is to win the Champions League by 2014.
Wow.
Which I think is a bit adventurous.
Fast.
It's
right.
Take a while for this team to gel and be able, and you just need luck to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we'll see it that soon, but they want to compete at that level immediately, and I think the rest of the world will see them as legitimate contenders once they start making deep runs in the Champions League consistently.
Yeah, and I think, as you said, 2014. That's kind of maybe wishing, but with the kind of money that they're spending, you never know. Again, another transfer saga, another transfer interesting story. Van Persie. I'm trying to get a better understanding. I'm glad we have you on. There's a story right now on Goal.com. I mean, is he going to Juventus? Or that was confirmed by his agent, but now it seems to be not confirmed by his agent. And what's going on here? Can this just end already? This kind of reminds me of the Dwight Howard and the NBA. I just want this to end so we know what happened. What's going to happen here?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I was hoping you would know. You're the one who should know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sir Alex Ferguson was saying yesterday that Manchester United has put in a bid, and they're they're expecting to work with Arsenal on that. It looks like the two Manchester clubs are the closest, Manchester United and City, and it sounds like Juventus has sort of fallen out of the running a little bit. That might be because of Juventus's legal troubles. They have Calciopoli 2.0 over there going down, and it looks like their coach might be banned for 10 months. I don't know if that's played into it at all, but it's possible. But right now it looks like Van Persie's heading to Manchester, one of those two clubs.
Right, I think Mancini's saying he doesn't think Van Persie will join, but you never know. That could just be Mancini being Mancini. Another interesting thing here, and it's sad, and a lot of Real Madrid fans in Israel, Kaká was never really able to establish himself for Real just because of injuries. And now AC wants him back, but they're saying that. What do you think is going to happen here? I mean, this is probably one of my favorite parts of the year, the summer, the transfer window in the summer. What do you see happening to Kaká? Can he build back his name? I mean, this guy used to believe. How much was a transfer when he went to Real? It was a huge amount of money, no?
It was an obscene amount. It was the second highest transfer at the time.
Right. Ronaldo. Right. Exactly. So he never lived up to it. So is AC going to have to pay that kind of money? Is Milan going to have to pay a huge amount of money to get him back?
It's, Milan played Madrid yesterday. Kaká played for half an hour and had 3 assists in a 5-1 win. So I think a lot of they probably need him back right now. If not for a marketing strategy, because they've lost Ibrahimovic and they need new attacking players. What they've tried to do is structure a deal that involves, I think, a loan at first and then maybe like a nominal fee. And their selling point is that they'll take Kaká's wages off of Madrid. After the game, Mourinho said that they're not letting Kaká go for free. That if any club wants them, they have to pay for them. I think that's probably the hang-up, where Kaká's not worth as much as he was before, and he won't command a huge fee. But Milan is trying to just steal a deal here, and it's not going down as well as they had hoped. I don't think.
Right, and that you said it well. I just think that it's just sad, really, how injuries. Today you're our 6th guest on our show today. We've talked about injuries and with our MLB guests and our NBA guests and our NFL guests, and it's just sad what injuries can do to someone's career because, second highest transfer, so much hype. Real Madrid fans were expecting so much, and then, boom, nothing or not that much. Moving on now to Roma. Big news for American fans, Michael Bradley signing there. It's, an exciting thing as a part American soccer fan that I am. And of course, you're an American soccer journalist. Is this a big deal for American soccer, adding another guy to kind of an elite or a well-known club across the world, or should we not think too much of this?
I think it is a big deal for America. This is a player who has steadily moved up in his career from MLS at 17 through the Dutch league, through Germany, even a stint in England, and now he's gone to Italy, and he's proven himself there that one of the major clubs has bought him. And I think it's it's a positive move for America. There aren't many Americans at top clubs besides goalkeepers, really. And so this is a next step. He's gonna have to actually prove himself there and lock down a starting spot, and Roma's gonna have to perform better than it did the last season. But this could be a real boon for American soccer.
Right, and speaking of Roma, Daniel Rossi, a lot of Americans remember him for, the 06 World Cup when he headbutted the American and he started bleeding. But he is a great player, and Roma saying they're not going to get rid of him, but that's been also going on for a long summer. Do you think that's for sure a done deal? He's staying there for the upcoming season?
I thought so. He signed a new contract this summer. He had 1 year left on his deal, and it sounded like he was going to stay. Daniele De Rossi, of course, is from Rome and was vice captain behind Totti. But recently there's rumors that Manchester City is going to spend about 35 million euros on him.
Right.
And that Roma's considering the bid. I don't think that Roma wants to sell, but when you get some of these bids, it's very, very difficult to turn down.
Yeah.
Central midfield. They just announced that David Pizarro is going to Fiorentina.
Right.
He was always one of my favorite players. I really enjoy watching him. So I was sad to see him leave.
Yeah, and speaking of another American star, this will be our last question, Zach, and we'll have to have you on again. But what's going on with the Dempsey stuff? I mean, it's kind of been quiet lately. Is he staying at Fulham? Is that what we should expect, or is this something that might come through at the last minute? Or Liverpool, what's happening there?
So I think Fulham has told him that they want him to stay even though he's in his last year of contract, and they'll just let him go for a free next season.
Okay.
And they're pretty adamant about that. But, I mean, you have to think that eventually one of the financial guys there will say, listen, we need to cash in now.
Right.
And
I mean, he's not the youngest guy in the world.
No, he's 29.
Right. So do you expect? I mean, he doesn't. I guess. What do you think is going to happen? His agent's obviously going to tell him money. Time to go now. Everyone wants you. What if he has a disappointing year this year and his stock plummets and no one wants him at the end of next year? That happens in football.
I think beyond his agent, I think he knows that he needs to join a somewhat big club now if he wants to play in the Champions League.
Right.
That he needs to be making a move. If he has to stay, then he just needs to prove himself again, and hopefully someone will come in January and he can make that move up. Dempsey's always been pretty committed on the field, and I'm not that and he's consistently gotten better even later on in his career. So I'm not concerned about that too much.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I think it'd be exciting to see him there. But did we lose Zach? We might have lost Zach. That's never happened with Zach.
Hello.
Oh, Zach, you're there. Okay. Sorry, I think we lost you.
Cut out on us.
Yeah. No, I was just saying I'd love to see him with Arsenal. They're my favorite team in the Premier League, and my team that my family's a big fan of. So, but they've signed so many players this offseason that doesn't look very likely. But it'll be very exciting. But it's great to see all these Americans have an opportunity. I believe Shea Given is not going to be the starting goalie this year. I'm trying to remember where he plays so that
Aston Villa.
Right. So it's good to see these Americans getting a chance, and I hope that Bradley, gets to play and he's not just kind of there on the bench, because I think the next World Cup, something needs to happen, and not these, get to the quarterfinals and then lose. America really needs to make some sort of push in the soccer world, but we will see. Zachary Rigg, we got to run. It's always a pleasure. It's always fun. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to having you on again in the future.
All right, thanks. Talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, Zach.
All right, be well there, Zach. All right, that was Zachary Rigg. That's going to conclude our show, but before we thank everyone who came on today's show, Raphael has an announcement.
Right. First of all, just a preview of next week, because that's how we do it, and, of course, some news, because that's also how we do it. So let's start off maybe with actually, let's let Ari thank everyone who's come on, and then I'll finish it off, and then Ari will say goodnight.
Okay, so at the beginning, we actually had Clenari Carter at 5:45 coming on the program, our Southern correspondent to the United States. We certainly appreciate Clenari's time. Then we had Amiel Monson, who is the program director of Maccabi, of the Maccabi Games. That was a lot of fun. He's very nice. Word on Raphael's Facebook wall to make sure to hit like on our Facebook page, our like page, our fan page, so everyone out there should do that as well. Amiel told you to do that, so go ahead and do that. We then had Ari Bluestein, our Philadelphia insider, talking about the Phillies' disastrous season, 18 games back in the NL East. David Dobin talking about some New York baseball. He likes Mike Trout to win the MVP in the American League. And we had our wonderful PTI segment. Wrap things up with Zachary Rigg from Goal.com.
Right, okay, so now for our news, we have about a minute left. Big breaking news from our good friend Doobie Pick. Hapoel Jerusalem, huge deal. They just took Galil's high-flying Courtney Fells, who you'll remember he's been on our show. So he's moving from the north, Galil, to Jerusalem. That's a huge move for Jerusalem. He'll probably be, if not the star, the second best player on the team, or one of the guys who's considered to score a lot. And, of course, none other than David Doobie Pick from Eurobasket and Sportando, reporting that. Ari, the game is USA's up by 3 right now in the 7th minute in the third quarter, so that's going to be a great game. We'll see what happens there. Peyton Manning is back on the field doing everything that all people expect him with the Denver Broncos, so that should be very exciting. Now looking to next week, as I mentioned, a huge soccer week, a very big week as well as just a soccer week, but I'll give you highlights of every day. We're going to have Josh Katzovitz from CBS Sports. He's an NFL blogger, very well-known NFL blogger, talking about the upcoming season on Monday. On Tuesday, we're going to have Leander from ESPN.com, the senior writer for soccer from ESPN.com. Very big guest. Very exciting to have him on. Wednesday, Jim Williams we're going to have on, and Scott French. Very exciting. And I believe
very special
guest.
Radio Mike from Kew Garden Hills will be in studio. So
right, so that'll be a lot of fun. I've never met him. I've heard a lot of good things about Radio Mike.
Great caller, and he has a lot to say, and it'll be fun to see what his interviewing chops can do. So that'll be good stuff.
Right, and then really the creme de la creme show this Thursday will be a lot of fun. We're going to have Tommy Smith on, which is just a blast to hear his voice and to catch up with him. We haven't had him on in a while, but we're gonna have Mark Healy on. We're going to have this is also another big guest for us. I think Ari will appreciate this one more than me just because it's baseball history. But Fred Clare, who is very well-known GM of the LA Dodgers back in the 80s, will be joining us. Very exciting there. And Danny Knobler is a CBS senior sports writer. And just some projects we're working on right now. Larry Brown, we're very close to getting him. That's going to be very big for us to get Larry Brown. And working on some other exciting projects. Working on Allie Raisman, getting her on our show. Huge role model. 18 years old, believe it or not. Everything she's accomplished.
She's single?
Maybe, but I don't think she's religious. Sorry, but I don't know if that's a difference. Maybe you can get her religious. Who knows? But a little young for you, though, Ari, no? 28 years old.
I'm 29.
29, right?
Love has no age limits.
That's true. My parents are 11 years. So you can ask them about that tomorrow at Shabbat dinner. Ari will be joining my family for Shabbat. Very excited to have him at our new home. So Ari, I hope you didn't forget.
And we might be going up to the car to try to pick up on some ladies. So.
I have a girlfriend, but you might.
Allie might have to wait.
Yeah, Allie might have to wait. I don't even know how we got to this, but yeah, Danny Knobler, and then the following, just a few more guests. I know I'm giving a long thing here, but we just are having a really big month, so why not announce it? Gordon Forbes, he's a huge guy in NFL. Ari, you're going to love him. 41 Super Bowls he has been to and reported for USA Today.
Wow.
Bill Rowland, of course, from CBS Sports in Washington, D.C. will be joining us. Mark Robbins from ESPN, Dave Cohen, who is trying to help us get Ron Bloomberg right now. So thank you, Dave Cohen. Very excited to have you on. Alan Black from San Francisco Chronicle will be joining us. Isaac Lurkson, who is the play-by-play guy for the Clippers. Jerry Coleman, Harvey Fromer. The list goes on and on. Just working out. Ryan Blake, all right, NBA Director of Scouting, will be joining us. Remember, he was a blast. Very funny guy last time. And as Ari and I mentioned, Moshe and I behind the scenes are working on a lot of big guests. Ryan Braun, Ian Kinsler, a lot of these Jewish guys. Sean Green, very close to getting him on. So stay with us. If you don't want to listen to the other interviews, at least tune in for our fun interviews, even though every interview is fun. But we cover everything: soccer, baseball, basketball, women's basketball, football, college basketball, gossip. That's kind of Ari's department.
I love gossip.
Ari loves gossip. He spent a week talking about the wedding of Chris Humphries, who he probably doesn't even know about that much about. But, it's bad. But
he married the chicks, the guys extraordinaire.
Right.
72 whole days.
Right, but do you know much about Chris Humphries' basketball?
No.
Exactly.
I don't.
And he's a good player, which is the sad part for Chris. But, yeah, I'm trying to think of any... Oh, our announcement. This is why you told... We are very proud to announce that we should be having a fully redesigned, refurbished website in the next 7 to 10 days. Very exciting to announce this. Moshe has been working on it very hard, so he deserves the credit for it.
Yes,
it's a lot of work to build a new website and a lot of work to deal with our old website because it had a lot of problems. But it's fine right now, obviously. But we wanted to make a new model, kind of add new things. It's going to be very more user-friendly, more exciting, more digitalized. I think you can say that, right, Ari? More digitalized?
Yeah, I think it's
more,
right.
more user friendly for all our listeners. And also another big news: we're going to try and get on more smartphone apps because that really helps our ratings and people listen. So we're going to be working on that, and also potentially another big, exciting announcement next week regarding broadcasting for the next year. But we'll keep that for next week. Monday, Moshe will be joining us in the studio to do soccer with me. Ari will do the NFL interview by himself because we want to give him some airtime, of course. Ari's welcome to join us for soccer.
I'll listen in.
You listen in. And, of course, Monday Night Quarterback with Aaron Krolik. Do not miss it. It's the best NFL sports show I've ever listened to. Very exciting stuff from Aaron. Always talks about whatever he talks about, likes to make jokes, should be getting good guests. Can have Clonari maybe come on and talk to him about the NFC South. I have talked for a long time now, so I'm going to let Ari say goodnight.
That's it for tonight. God bless and good night.